What's happening? This is my new mic. This is Georgia, your friendly neighborhood bullfiddle cat, and welcome to the 23rd episode of the Slapstream, live from Slapsville. As you have probably noticed, I have a new camera and a new microphone, thanks to Mojave. If you like this one, it's a Mojave MA50. I think it's pretty good one. Please let me know in the comments what you think about it. And before I introduce my today's guest, I would like to remind you to subscribe. Please hit that subscribe button. Give me one of those. And let me know in the comments who would you like me to feature next and in the future slap streams. Um, and also, if you'd like to support the channel, please check out Super Chat, Super Stickers. They're under the live chat. And Patreon and Venmo links are below the video. And Patreon. Patreon is the main one. Please check out that one. I offer some pretty cool perks for my patrons. So make sure to check it out. And today's guest is also a very special one. Like every time, every week, I have a special guest. And this time, I have a winner, and she is the winner. She is the winner of 2020 Ameripolitan Award for Rockabilly Female of the Year. And I personally think she has one of the coolest names ever. Her name is Laura Palmer, and that's one of my favorite TV shows, Twin Peaks. And I have to ask her, is that a coincidence or like is there her stage name or something? But I'm really curious. And before further ado, I would like to introduce my today's guest, Laura Palmer. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you for doing this. I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's nice and
How how have you been doing during this whole end of the world thing? How are you
oh god, there's
coping?
been like four ends of the world in like the past like 6 months or something. Each one gets more and more interesting. you know, but we're doing what you know. Uh, I'm doing all right. I'm doing. I'm doing.
How
I'm doing good.
you're
I'm
in New
happy.
York, right?
I am. I am in New York,
Is it
Brooklyn,
cold?
New York. It's freezing. it's so cold. The heater's on. Ah, it's
You know,
brutal.
I
It
was
was
in
really
the
nice.
Oh, really?
It was really nice and it was unseasonably warm and we were completely spoiled. And then all of a sudden it's like rain and it's like
Oh,
31 degrees out and it's mean. It's
a friend of mine
cruel.
owns a kafana, a restaurant in East Village. I guess it's Alphabet City technically, and he told me it was beautiful until a few days ago. That
Hmm.
everything was fine,
Yeah.
and it's pretty nice here in California, here in Slapsville. I got to say that I can't
Yeah.
the
It's
weather.
okay. Enjoy. I don't begrudge you. Just a little
you,
bit.
you can come in anytime. I have to ask you. My first question is about this Twin Peaks coincidence. Coincidence is that your stage name or its real name? What's going on? What's the
It is
deal
my
there?
real name. It is my real name. It is my married name. I wasn't born with it, but I married a Palmer. Um, and so it's been my name for 8 years now.
That's so
and
cool.
I was always going by Laura Rebel Angel, but then Facebook had the name change policy, and then it was like Laura Palmer, and everyone's like, "Oh, your name's Laura Palmer." And I
Oh,
always,
really?
yeah. But the thing that sucks about it is that when you Google Laura Palmer, it's not like I'm the first one that pops up. So it's a blessing. It's not a blessing. It's weird. It's creepy.
Are you a fan
Sometimes
of Are you a fan of the show?
I am, and I am not. Just because if your name is Laura Palmer, then all of a sudden you see like T-shirts and people just being like, "Who killed Laura Palmer?" At first you're like, "Oh, that's cute," and then you're like, "This is really creepy," and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh," and then like you watch the movie and you're like, "Oh, she's like, everybody's really mean to her. It's terrible."
Alive. If
Oh,
you've
I'm like,
seen
I
the
want to
first
be.
season, she's
I
alive,
know. Yeah,
at least in one of the dimensions. I'm a
it is.
huge fan
Mm-hmm.
of Twin Peaks. I read all the books. I've seen, you know, both movies, like all seasons, everything that exists. I'm a huge fan. So
Yeah, the
I was
seasons are
so
great, but like Fire Walk with Me, I was like, no, too
oh,
much. No,
I still love
don't
it.
look under the bed.
How did it feel? I mentioned the that you won an award this year and
Yes.
for a Metropolitan award in Memphis. And how did that feel?
Oh, it was amazing. I did not think I was going to win, but I was just so happy to be nominated and to just go down to Memphis and just be a part of the Ameripolitan family and all of the shows and just to be able to absorb the rock and roll and like hang out with so many people. And then it was just a really amazing experience to have because it happened like maybe a few weeks before the lockdown. So if that was like a way to celebrate like the end of the before times, that was a pretty amazing way to go. So it was great. Like I just I love roots music. I love the fact that the people who voted for me and nominated me. It's the thing that's really interesting about rockabilly is it's like our first form of rock and roll in the US. But then the way that I approach it, the way that I perform it, it's it doesn't have the reverence to just exactly what it was in like 1954, and it's just kind of evolving and building on it. And it was really nice to be embraced by traditionalists and everybody else for it. So it was pretty cool.
That's so cool. Was that your first time in Memphis?
Um, I think I was there once before, but that was the first time that I really experienced it.
Did you do the whole thing, Graceland, Sun Studio, and everything, or?
Oh, I did Sun Studio. I stood on the X and played with like Elvis's microphone. I took all the pictures. I cried like so many times. I didn't know why. I was like, yeah, that was me. I went to Graceland, but I just like stood outside because we didn't have enough time to. There's just so much to do there. There's so much.
Oh
It's
yeah,
so
it's
much
so cool.
history. It was cool, and we got in at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then like 6 a.m. we had to be up because we did a TV show, like one of their local news things, and that was so fun. It was so much fun.
Going to
It,
Memphis, it's kind of like a religious experience for rock and rollers.
it really is, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I've
we
been
were so.
I've, I've been in Memphis, I think, for the first time in 2006, and that was
Mhm.
my first U.S. national tour. And I played with Deke Dickerson, and we
Oh,
played Memphis. We played Gibson Factory, Ponderosa Stomp, and I had the chance to back up so many cool people from the 50s, like Scotty Moore Band, PJ Fontana, Sonny Burgess, Joe Clay, Eddie Bond. Like it was so cool. It was
oh,
like
that's
I
amazing.
loved it. Yeah, I felt like a rock star.
What did that feel like to
Yeah.
get to play with all those people?
It was I moved to US in 2004 and my first tour was like national tour was 2006 and it felt kind of like I reached a milestone in my career, like something very important. And I did, lots of things opened up after that tour. So I'm happy that I did it. I'll always be thankful to Dick Dickerson that he called me and invited me like to do it, and it was a unique experience, really unique. Traveling all over the U.S. and everything around it. It really Dick kind of taught me how to tour. I always tried to do it. Even now, like when I tour with Tiger Army, I tried to do lots of things uh Deke showed me how to do, like like certain food, like find the best barbecue, visit every single rock and roll place, or it's one of my favorite things to do on tour, really. And
Good
memphis
advice.
memphis is always special,
I
always
mean,
special. How are you holding up during the pandemic? Is it you are
oh, well, I mean, at the beginning of the pandemic, I feel like I was one of the first people that I knew that actually caught COVID.
oh
Um, yeah, so that wasn't fun. Highly don't recommend it.
I bet.
um, yeah, it was, and I was probably like really sick for maybe like 4 days, and then I had what they would call a mild case of it, But then for about 6 months, I've had like the long haul symptoms of it, and I've been a little bit better for the past month. But it is like I just met with an infectious disease specialist because we are trying to figure out. I'm like, why am I still tired? Why am I all of this? And it's still, if you're young and healthy, have a mild case, it can still, like what happened with me is my immune system was just like, what's going on, and started attacking like all parts of my body. Like I'd have like crazy heart racing, or heart would be really slow. I would stand up and just like fall down and pass out, which and just like get brain fog, and it's the symptoms lasted for a little while. So I know we're all like tired of it. We're like, can this be over? Believe me, I want it to be over, but it's just we still have to just wear masks, sanitize your hands. It's not over yet.
No.
Please don't catch this. Don't catch
Yeah.
this. Don't give it to grandma. Don't give it to like the grocery store worker.
For
Learn how
how
to
long
live
were you?
stream.
Yeah. For how long were you not able to slap the bass?
Oh my god, for like 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah,
Wow.
about that. It was
That's the
it,
worst.
it was so crazy because they're just coming off like and I just remember when Viva Las Vegas was first canceled, we're like, oh, I'm sure we'll be able to go to Viva, and then nope.
No,
But it
nothing.
was, yeah, I was too weak to play the upright. I was too weak to even play like violin. The only thing I could play was guitar. Just like sit in bed and just like I got pretty good on guitar. That's about the only thing out of this.
So, was bass your first instrument or not?
Bass is my fifth instrument.
Fifth.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
So, what was your first instrument?
Piano and organ. So when I was like 4 years old, I had a little Mangus play by number organ. And I just kind of learned how to read and read music at the same time. My grandmother was a pianist for her church, and I just, kind of had a musical family in that way. I always had a piano in the basement. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. I was the youngest kid of four, but nobody was ever around, so I would just like be making noise.
And what are the other instruments?
Oh, and then after that, flute, and then violin, and then I played classical violin for a little while, and probably, I don't know, maybe I started that about 11, and that was pretty fun. I got to tour with the Manhattan School of Music Youth Orchestra, and
Nice.
like spent like a summer in Bulgaria, playing the violin.
Oh, cool.
And then after that, I picked up guitar and rock and roll, and I'm like, oh, I wanted to play AC/DC and like L7. Yeah, and then I picked up bass maybe like 5 years ago out of necessity, just because like we couldn't. There was like no, I don't know. I live in New York, and there's not really a lot of bass players in New York that play this style of music because they all. It's huge. It's hard to get around. It's a pain in the butt. You know that nobody has a car,
Yep.
so I. I don't know. I got a bass trying to get my husband to learn how to play, and he had zero interest in it. So then I just started playing, and I'm like, honey, this will be fun. Go on tour with me. He's like, no, no, I don't like it. Um, and then so I just started to play bass for our rehearsals because it was kind of hard to have the rehearsals without a bass. And then all of a sudden we're like, wait a second, I can play bass. Like, let's just be a trio. And then yeah. And then
And,
let me see. I
and
think
that's it.
2000,
Oh,
yeah, 2018. Was the first tour I went on upright. So I did like a whole bunch of European tours after that, and it was fun. It's fun switching up instruments because the band kind of becomes new. You figure out different ways to approach the song. You just and then coming from playing these songs or just playing in the band or just playing all these instruments, you kind of figure out. I'm like, well, this is what I want my bass player to sound like, and I would be able to play it.
so you
So
still switch from the instruments during your shows?
yeah, sometimes it depends.
That's nice. Do you
Yeah,
still play the other instruments as well? Flute and
I do.
violin,
I
piano?
don't play the flute anymore. Um, no, I haven't played in the web, but I still play. I still play violin. I still play a little bit of piano. Um, yeah, it's fun. It's nice
And
and relaxing.
how did you start playing music? Is that because of your grandma or?
I think boredom. I don't know. It just happened. It's like, oh, this
Just
is
happened.
noise. I
How
like
did you
noise.
how did you start playing rock and roll? How old were you when you got into rock and roll guitar, when you started playing guitar?
I don't know. Maybe I was like 13 or 14. I don't know. Like I remember the first guitar solo I learned was like an L7 guitar solo from Shove, and it was a comp tape that I got at a thrift store. It was $2, and it was yeah, I was just like, what is this? And just like to hear like this crazy like all girl rock and roll, just like it blew my mind. I was like, I want to be like them.
Awesome.
And then yeah, so much fun.
Are you a better bassist or guitar player?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. It's different. It depend. I guess it would depend on the song. It would. Yeah. Some songs I play better on bass. Some songs I play better on guitar. Um, yeah.
Some
Sometimes I
songs
write
better
better
on
on
violin.
bass. Yeah.
Maybe you maybe you can incorporate like these, the other instruments like into your band as well sometimes. Do you ever have
Yeah.
to record like violin or piano on your albums?
I actually I have I mean, it wouldn't be released under Screamin' Rebel Angels, but I started kind of like all of these, um, just like these songs that are just kind of like more kind of like really like it still captures like kind of like the emotion and the intensity of it, but it's more kind of like belter ballads. So I've written some of them on piano, and I've recorded like a couple, like probably like 3 violin parts over it. I put like 4 bass parts in it with like bowing, pizzicato, and like so um nothing's in time yet, so I can't. So it's not being released. It's a project. It's quite a project.
That sounds like a cool project.
Keeps me
Um,
busy.
of course, we have to do that. At least that. At least.
Yeah.
Um, what was the name of your first band?
Screamin' Rebel Angels is my first band.
Oh, really?
I I'm like really shy. I mean, you can't tell now, but
So
no, I was like super shy. I was always like the weird tall girl in the corner that would just like not make eye contact with anyone. And so I started, and I played all these instruments because I was so shy. I wouldn't like talk to people. And um, yeah, wait, what was I saying? Yeah, yeah,
so
I just
everything
got super
changed once you
embarrassed.
sold your soul to the rock and roll, huh?
Yeah, it took a while to be able to get on the stage, and like I had such terrible stage fright. And I remember the first time I got on to sing, it was like an Elvis tribute, and I got over my stage fright, and I drank a lot of whiskey. Like I'm straight edge vegan now, but I drank a lot of whiskey because I was so nervous, and I like belted the first song, and oh, what was it? It was like Jailhouse Rock, and I was like the 1 2 county, and I went like this, and I fell over the drum kit, like literally fell back into the kick drum. My little legs are like sticking up over it. The band had to stop. Someone had to like pick me up out of it. And then I got up and I finished singing the song. And I was like, nothing could be worse than this. Great.
Is that on YouTube now?
No. Thank
No.
God. No. It's so bad. I couldn't remember the words. I fell down. I had all my
I
friends
see.
there.
But did
Oh
you ever
wait,
have stage fright
I
when you played classical before, or it was just
yes. Oh
regular?
yeah, it was terrible. I remember the first time I had such bad stage fright. I don't think I ever told the story. The first time, like the first piece that I had to play when we were in Bulgaria, because it was a big deal to fly there. The first piece, and I was so nervous to play. I was like picking at my string to make it break, and I was like, "Oh, my string's broken. I can't play." And then like the master instructor like came over and like gave me a new string, and I had to play. So that was oh, embarrassing.
But how was
It's like
Bulgaria? Do you remember? Do you remember that? Was that in the
um
90s or when was that? Or 2000s?
yeah, that was the 90s. It was still weird, um, because I mean, it was like the mid 90s, I think, and it was right after, only a few years after like communism fell, so there was still like a lot of like the Eastern European kind of you know yeah, the vibe that you would just like you're not allowed to go here in this spot, and there's a lot of what was it like? Oh God, I forget what it was called. A lot of what is it like the it's not Catholic, it's like the not Catholic, super Christian,
Oh,
Coptic Christians.
no,
I don't
no,
know.
no.
They
It's
have
Eastern Orthodox.
yes, okay. So they have all these beautiful cathedrals that we were going in, and then all of a sudden, like, they're like, "Oh, this is great, but you can't be in here if you're Catholic." And we was like, "We're like, oh no." We're like, I don't know. That's what I remember. How am I talking about this? I'm nervous.
Yeah, Eastern
I'm like,
Orthodox things were. Oh, sorry, like Eastern Europe and the whole communism. It was an
yeah,
interesting period. I mean, I grew up in it. In Serbia. I mean, in Yugoslavia. But I gotta say, during Yugoslavia, you know, it was different. It was much different than Bulgaria, Romania, and other countries because it was really open for both Western influences and Eastern influences, and um, I was able to get all these crazy music from the East and West, and then it was open for rock and roll. So it was. I gotta say, it was kind of great. I really
yeah.
liked Yugoslavia. It was a special place, but it's not
It
anymore.
it was so beautiful to just to go there and see. It was great to be able to see that much of the world so young and just to have that kind of experience and just as I'm joking like yeah we were kicked out of like the cathedrals and stuff or whatever they're called. I can't even remember, but
It was
yeah,
just church, but
the church.
Bulgaria um, is actually a first country where I mean foreign country where I went to. My parents brought me there when I was 2, like the seaside or something. So
You went to the
I
Black
don't remember
Sea.
anything. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, but that was my first foreign experience that I do not remember, but
Yeah, it still counts.
it does. So when and how did you get interested in slap bass?
um
Was
I
it
think
just necessity, or like as you mentioned, and
oh I
then did you get
necessity.
deeper into it?
um I mean, I loved the sound of it. And that is the sound that drove me to rockabilly and the kind of music that I play. It just doesn't sound right with electric bass. And then when I remember the first time that I really was able to play bass and to just actually just kind of get into that gallop and into the zone. And it was just, it's like every time I touch the instrument, I just smile. It makes me happy. It's like, it's such a physical instrument that you're just really physically just expressing the song. You're like kind of, I mean, I beat the crap out of it. And it's like another band member. Um, like, that's what I say. Like, hey, buddy, is he staring at me? I think he's staring at me. I don't know.
Does the instrument
We
have a
have
name?
words. No,
No. Okay.
no. I'm sorry. I
It's
feel bad
really like
now.
it. It's really something special. All of us like got really into that mesmerizing sound of slap bass.
Yeah.
It's just there's something so cool about it.
It's
And
like the
that
only instrument like you're dancing with it. It's like a partner. It's like I don't know how to explain it. Like, do you feel that way? Like, do you play
oh
other
yeah,
instruments?
oh yeah. I mean, when I think about bass, I always think about one of my teachers who was telling me when I was a kid that you actually do not start playing music until you stop feeling an instrument as a different entity. Like when the instrument becomes part of your body, then you can actually be focused on playing music and expressing yourself when you're not
Yes.
thinking about the technique, about the fingering, about all of these things. When you forget about it, then you actually start playing music. And so that was my
Yes.
goal since I was a kid, and I that's how I feel now for a number of years, and then it's kind of like part of me.
Yeah. I
That's
love it. I love like I play with a whole bunch of other bands too. And then just to like we'll do like these 3 or 4 hour sets and it's just like your brain doesn't need to think about it. Your body and just something takes over, and your hands are just like you've never heard the song before, but you're playing it perfectly, for like 4 hours, and it's magical. I don't know.
that means that you
It's
have
an
good ears.
experience.
Um, you mentioned different bands, like so. How many bands are you playing with?
Well, I mean, my band is my only like full-time band, but then I play in a couple other local bands. They need a bass player. I'll jump in for like the Buzzards or the Luster Kings, which were rockabilly band of the year for 2020. And then if friends are stopping in New York, I'll back them up. Like I've backed up Buzz Borer. I've played with for the Go Getters probably like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times when he comes through. Like Nate Gibson, who else? I don't know, just a ton of bands. um,
That's the best thing about being a bass player, that you can really fit in any genre. And it's
yeah.
interesting you mentioned Luster Kings. I know Mark Games Jager like pretty well. So if he's
Oh,
watching,
he's
shout out to Mark.
amazing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
played at his place a few times when I was touring with Deke.
Oh,
That's
he
maybe
was
15 years ago or something.
Yeah, he was my first show that I played after I got sick with COVID, and it was a 4-hour gig outside on Long Beach, and it was amazing. Like I couldn't stop smiling the whole time. I was so happy. I was like, need help like packing up drums or anything. It's just like every part of the experience was just so amazing, just to be around people and being able to play music
I
again.
bet.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to really play in front of people for, I think this is the beginning. I didn't have any real shows.
Hmm.
So it's kind of frustrating. I used to be like 8 to 10 months out of the year on tour, and
Yeah.
now this, it's like, phew, okay, I don't
Wow.
like this new normal. But it is what it is.
Just go, just go outside. Going
Maybe
down the
gonna,
subway.
I mean, I learned how to skateboard, which is probably not the best thing to
That's
do when you're a
awesome.
kid. But I never tried skateboard when I was a kid. And I was like, I think I'll do this. So whatever. I had to do something. Do you remember the first lick that you learned on bass?
Yeah, it was just like a 1-2. It was like boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Someone
I
showed
mean,
it to you, or you figured it out by yourself?
um, I think people tried to show it to me, and then I just like got a whole bunch. I just tried to look online. I every single DVD I bought to try to teach myself how to play. I'm
Oh
not gonna
wow,
say,
which
yeah.
ones?
All right. It was the Lee Rocker one, and everyone was like, "But it's so cute, isn't he so precious? He's like so serious about it."
Oh yeah, yeah. It came.
Yeah,
That's actually one of the first ones. It came out in
yeah,
95, I believe. The only one that came out before that is Milt Hinton's, a couple years
mm-hmm.
before that, and that same year, Mark Rubens and Kevin Smith's came out as well. So
Yeah.
that's definitely one of the first ones. I believe second or third.
And I think I got I'm not gonna remember it. Jimmy wait, Hutton, the Brian Setzer's current player.
Ah,
What's his
John
name?
Hatton.
Yes, that was so. Just made up that name. And let's see, Jared from Urban Pioneers. He put one out from. There's probably like only 10 copies made. I probably bought one. There's just
And
like
it was
yeah,
slap bass.
yeah. There's slap bass ones. I don't
Oh,
know.
I don't know.
It's
I
kind
don't
of
know. I don't know that one.
yeah.
I
There's
have
a
to. I have to see everything slap bass related. So I'm gonna look that up.
yeah. Let's see what else. Yeah, uh, but
Awesome. Yeah, so it was it
it's
was
fun.
it was good. I would like to hear you play and sing. Do you wanna? I think
Sure.
it's a good time
Let
to
me
do that.
embarrass myself more. Let me just
Yeah,
like keep rambling about terrible
everybody
stories.
enjoys.
All right. Let
I'll give
me
you a second to.
let me adjust the camera.
Yes. All right. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. I'm gonna give Laura a second to get ready, to grab her bass, and to sing or just to slap, whatever she feels like it. And do you guys enjoy it? Please write down in the comments. Um, and as I said earlier, please let me know who would you like me to feature next. Write that down in the comments below. All right, I think she's ready to rock and roll.
All right. So, I guess since we're talking about like the first slap that I learned, better keep your hands off of him.
awesome. You're such an amazing singer. It's so cool. Like, how does it feel to play bass and sing at the same time? Is it hard?
Um, I love it. It just kind of comes out. It's like you're able to just belt and hit something.
And what are you thinking
It's fun
about
yet.
more? Like, are you thinking more about singing or slapping?
Do you know what? It's the kind of like what you mentioned earlier. It's you're in the song when you're not really thinking about anything and it's just existing in the moment. And it's like it just kind of when you don't have to think about playing or singing, that's when the songs come out. The good
Is it
ones,
is
at
it
least.
exhausting now? Like after not singing and
No,
slapping at the same
I know.
time?
I want to play more. I just want to play guitar, and I haven't like really taken this out. I'm like, oh,
Bass is more
I
fun,
miss you,
huh?
buddy. I miss you. Maybe you'll get a name one day. I don't know. Hmm.
Do you wanna sing and play something else? How do you feel?
Sure, of course.
Alrighty.
I'll do another one. I'll do like a little less slappy. But there is something on your mind. Can tell by the way you look at me. There is something on your mind now, baby. Can tell by the way you look at me. Can what you're thinking bring happiness? Or will it bring misery? No, no, please don't try and tell me. 'Cause I may not understand. No, no, please don't try and tell me now, baby. 'Cause I may not understand. You want me to try, forget you. Well, I'm doing the best I can. I just love this bass line so much. If you ever think about me, if I ever cross your mind, if I ever think about me, now, baby, if I ever cross your mind, well, you know I got yours, and you know I got mine. There is something on your mind. Can tell by the way you look at me. There is something on your mind now, baby. Can tell by the way you look at me. And what you're thinking bring happiness. Oh, will it bring misery?
Awesome. I think you can leave the base and come back to the
All
come
right.
back to the chair for now. But I'll ask you to play more a little bit later. So please don't, we are
It's like,
warming
oh,
up
wait,
now.
wait, I'm
You
little.
know,
I am little now. Hold on.
yeah,
There we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
There
Our
was a,
our viewers are patient.
there
What do you guys think? Let me know. Let us know.
we go. Like,
Give us thumbs up.
play the right notes. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
No, it sounded great. It's what but one thing that I was curious, like, what do your New York neighbors think about when you sing like this in a
I
like
like. Oh my god, it's like after midnight here. But luckily, there's nobody that lives above me right now. So
oh
I love
cool.
it. Yeah. And then my
So
neighbors across the hall are just they're pretty chill.
oh
I
cool.
don't mind.
So there's nobody above because they
They
left
just
during
like
Corona.
they move. Yeah, they left during Corona, and they're like, "Oh, that girl's so loud."
No,
Stomp,
I'm
stomp, stomp.
curious because in Los
Oh
Angeles
yeah.
so many people left. Like there's like
Oh yeah.
never this many empty apartments. You see for rent signs all over the place, and rents even went down. I wonder about real estate, but it's kind of crazy, like to think about it. That it's just a few years ago. I mean, just
Yeah.
like 1 year ago, you would think that's not possible. You couldn't find a place like to rent. Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it like
There's
that
so
in
many
New York?
people. Yeah. Oh, definitely. There's definitely an exodus of people. Because I mean, not only that, we were the epicenter too. So it was crazy here in March and April because all you heard was just constant sirens, just
Hmm.
nonstop. It was nonstop sirens. It was really, I don't know. It was really a kind of a crazy experience to
I bet.
just, yeah.
Is
Uh,
it better now?
yes. Oh my God, so much better. It's a lot better. I've been going into the office, which is weird for my day job, which is in Midtown. Um, it's interesting to say the least, though. Just to see New York now. Of
Do you, is it what's different? Are there less people on the street or less people on the subway or
yeah, there's so many, just less people on the street, less people on the subway. A lot of the businesses are closed down. A lot of the big chains are just like boarded up. Like they never opened back up after like the protests. And then for the election, like everybody just boarded up. Like I work across the street from the Empire State Building and it's still just completely boarded up. And like, I don't know. And because there's not a lot of people, there's a whole bunch of scaffolding. There's a lot of people that are just kind of just like passed out on sidewalks. And
oh,
it's very sad. It's very heartbreaking.
is it
That there's
scary?
so many people are in crisis. It's a little scary. I've gotten accosted like several times. I've gotten followed. I've had to run. I've had to like go into places. I've had like lit cigarettes thrown at me. People follow me. That was this week. No, I'm
Dang.
not even lying. But
It's weird times. Were those
but
things happening like before COVID as well or no?
no,
No? Okay.
no, not really.
So New
No.
York kind of became rough again, huh?
Yeah, yeah, in a way. And I think it's just like, I mean, I don't know. There's just less people too, so I think there that you just notice more because the people with means kind of left. People that are able to work from home still work from
Hmm.
home. So the people that are just kind of
Left the city.
left, yeah. Then the people
Wow.
that are still on the street, there's not a lot of options for them. Yeah.
And how about
Wow, I just
gigs?
like made this a bummer.
No, like I mean, I think it's good like to be informed and to know. We have viewers that watch from all over the world. So
Yeah.
we are curious.
It's
Everybody's curious, because you don't hear these. You hear some stuff on the media, but you can't really experience
it was
firsthand. If
super
someone told me
interesting.
that I would experience this in Los Angeles, I would not believe that. Because everything's kind of seems normal. You go to the beach and it's all cool, but you just see all these for rent signs. There's less traffic too. I guess that's
Mm.
good, but that's kind of pretty much the only good thing about it.
Yeah, I think it's in like some of the neighborhoods, like in Brooklyn, There's a lot of homelessness out of that, like in Midtown Manhattan. But then I was up on the Upper East Side, the Upper West Side. I was in Central Park like a couple days ago, and it was just like it was completely normal. It was so weird. It
Oh,
was just like before times. I was like, wow, it's just
and
such a difference depending on the
are there
area.
any gigs, like outside gigs or anything? Is anything happening?
Yeah, there's some outside gigs. But now that everything's getting colder, it's so cold out. Not a lot because there, you'd have beach gigs or just people play like in front of venues or bars. As long as it was incidental music, like
Hmm.
playing at breweries. Um,
Oh, I heard about it. Like if you cannot
yeah,
announce it or something, right?
you can't announce it.
Okay.
Yeah. So and you play outside. Like I don't think you can play inside, but I don't. It's so that's
Oh,
rough.
it's gonna pass. It's gonna,
It'll pass. Oh,
we'll
it'll come
remember that.
back.
Yeah.
Right now we're all learning new skills like skateboarding.
Yeah. And have you played any shows with Screaming Rebel Angels, or like while this whole
Yeah,
thing is
like
happening?
yeah, I've played some solo shows and then we played a duo. I was on guitar and I played with my drummer because I just wanted to be just really loud. And we thought it was going to be a small show in like like on a farm and with like some hot rods. And then we get there and there's just like this huge stage that's the back of a flatbed truck. There's like 400 hot rods were there. Everybody was socially distanced. There was goats. There were some chickens running around, um, and it was magical. It was so amazing to just like cautiously see everybody, but be outside. Um, and oh my god, it felt so good to play. It was, and it was the first time that I really just played as a duo. So it was just like you can't. I was playing guitar, and obviously there was drums, and there's like you can't hide behind anything. You can't hide behind like another instrument. So it's just you 100% out there, and it was so wonderful. There's all these little girls there, and like these little kids, and they were just like up in the front row, and they were dancing like for every single song, and just to see like the joy and the happiness of that. And I just remember, like it was in the fall, obviously, and the last song that we played, like I had the chord, like, yeah, and then all of a sudden, like this tree that like it's a beautiful New England tree that was all covered in these yellow leaves. It just shed all of its leaves at once, and it was like this giant confetti machine, like over us for the last one, and it was like it's like the universe being like, yeah, do this. it was
That's so
so
cool.
amazing.
I feel.
I have some of the leaves. I've saved them.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
From your COVID show, and how long ago was that? Where was that?
I was a month ago in
Okay,
Connecticut. It was like August 24th. No, wait,
Connecticut.
September 24th? What month is this? Wait a second. I have to do this sometimes. It's November. So there was an
Yeah,
October. So it
November.
was
Yeah.
September 24th, I think.
All right. In Connecticut, that's what you said.
Connecticut. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
And
It was
wow,
nice.
I feel
Yeah.
that once this whole show, I mean, this whole mess is over, people would be even more excited to see live shows. I mean, that's
Yeah.
at least how it should be, because that's musicians bring kind of life and joy. So I really hope that people gonna start going out even more than before and kind of
Yeah.
appreciate. Hopefully they're not gonna all be like adjusted to the to like watching the screen and not going out to play.
No,
So
that's a, no, it'll come back. And they'll be like, we can't wait to see Georgie and Tiger
well, I
Army.
cannot wait
It'll be
to
soon.
do so. Yeah, that'll be so
Just
fun.
start a parking lot.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I mean, we always play big shows, so I feel that those shows gonna be the last ones that
Yeah.
we allowed to do that.
That, yeah.
I don't, I
Yeah, that's the
don't,
one thing.
I feel I should maybe start like a jazz duo or something, so I can
I
actually play
know.
somewhere maybe or something, But this way,
Yeah,
I'm like,
small band. So like
yeah,
even you just play
yeah,
like
and
unannounced fake
everything
name.
that I everything that I do is kind of usually large venues, so it's which is a
Yeah,
good thing. But now it's kind of like I'm never gonna play again. So,
I know.
but I have
Yeah.
the live stream, so and I'm talking to all of you, so there's nothing kind of that I like talking about more than bass. So it's pretty cool. I think that's silver lining type of thing.
Hmm. Yeah,
When
I
did
like
you
that
start your
this
band?
too.
Yeah. When did you start your band? When did you start Scream Rebel Agent?
I started in 2011. Yes.
Oh,
It was.
almost 10 years, huh?
I know. I can't believe it. I don't even understand how it's been that long. It
Do you
feels like it's
plan
been like
to?
8 bands
Yeah.
since like they
Do you
started it.
plan to have like a 10 anniversary tour, world tour?
No, I don't. Oh, I had so many plans for that led up to it, like for this last year, to just kind of be like, it was like, okay, win the Ameripolitan, and then we had like all these sick European tours, all these festivals booked, and it was just going to be like one like really big, then culminating like the 10-year party, and then like see what happens after that. Um, yeah, so I have no idea what's going to happen now. I don't know.
It's yeah, we
It's 10
can't
years.
plan on anything. I was really
Yeah.
excited about this year. So many cool things, were supposed to happen.
We had.
We released an album with Tiger Army in
Mhm.
September 13th. I guess yeah, so it's y- 14 months ago, and we were supposed to headline a festival in Spain and
Oh.
Nashville Boogie, and to go on two US Canada tours and then Europe and like
Mhm.
all kinds of cool stuff. And I was also nominated for the Grammy last year with the other band that I play with, Molotov, and that was supposed to like lots of cool things to happen. It was everything was leading up like to, all right, this is gonna be an awesome year, and then it's
Yeah,
no.
it's like musicians, we're so used to building on momentum and building on like what we just did to get to the next place, and then when it's kind of like taken away, we're kind of like, what are we gonna do? I don't know, but
It's so
like
weird.
everybody's in the same boat, like
Yeah, at
at
least that,
least yeah, like we're
and you have
all
the slap stream to
yeah. We're on
to
the same boat, we
learn
all lost
something.
all of our gigs, we all gained
Yeah,
10 pounds.
yeah.
You know,
So I think that you mentioned you usually have you're the only person that's been in a band from the very beginning, right?
well, there's one other person that's been in the band. So Brian's been in the band from there, like, but he doesn't. Oh, he doesn't tour, and he doesn't really. I don't know. I haven't talked to him since like February, so I'm not sure. But so he's been on all the records with me, but touring, it's been um it got to the point where ideally I would love to have a full-time band. I would love to have the same people that you just go and like they're like your family and you play with, you rehearse like every week together, you go on tour together, you know um but that just never happened. It was just never in the cards. And then there was such a time period between the first record and then waiting to have the perfect band, waiting to have, the dream band that I like thought I would have. And like you can't wait around. It's never going to be the ideal time. So that's when I just like wrote the next record and then started touring, and just picking up musicians because I'm like the alternative is that I don't make another record or I don't go on tour. So I'm like, I don't like that option. So I'm gonna make it work, and I'm gonna just pick up musicians as I go if needed. But always happen to have. I feel like we were kind of getting into like a full time band. We got a new drummer, Jim, who was like amazing, and then COVID happened. So I don't know what's going on. But on the other hand, I feel like I'm really lucky that I've played with so many amazing musicians. And each musician that I play with has just like taught me other things and just you learn how they play. Everybody kind of has a different accent that they play, a different interpretation. And I feel like it just kind of builds in your arsenal. Even playing in other bands, it's just like you're building up a vocabulary so you can apply it to your own music, and you just have a bigger breadth of expression to draw from.
I believe I agree with you, and I believe that playing with different musicians kind of definitely expands your vocabulary and your views. And then when you accept all these influences, it's just you're building yourself. You're building your own voice and your own kind of
Hmm.
stamp. So it's essential. You can't get that from jamming with records and all of that. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do that soonish.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but uh, who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen?
It will
Um,
happen. It
yeah,
will happen again if we will play music.
I know exactly. But how many lineup changes did you have in a band?
I, I don't know.
Like,
I can't even count it.
oh really?
Is it like I don't know. Maybe I've had like 12 different drummers.
Oh
Like
really?
maybe more. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite lineup,
Um.
or that's one of those
No.
things like
Yeah. I
choosing
can't. I can't pick between
choosing
all
the
my
best,
children.
your favorite kid?
Every they all offer different things. I'm really thankful for like I have a West Coast band, and I had a European band, and then my East Coast guys, and then within that people kind of shifted in and out, and it was really cool to have that. It was like really cool to have like a West Coast family to just like go and be like,
Nice.
hey, let's stay out here for like a couple months, let's play some rock and roll. All right, cool.
Your
Like meet
day
me in
job allows you
Colorado.
to do that.
Well, I actually just got a day job in January.
Oh,
I
good
yeah,
timing.
so I know, right? So
Yeah.
I have like kind of these 5-year cycles or 3-year cycles where I just like kind of work really hard, save up money, and kind of build up the skill set for the next thing. So it was kind of like just that point in my cycle of okay, I released the record, paid for that, had all this other stuff going. Now it's time to like work and save up to make like to fund the next project. And then it just happened. I'm very lucky. I feel like I got a job right before this all kind of stopped, and then I was able to actually transition my job into a lot of the digital stuff and being able to operate remotely. Um, so I made myself a little
Nice.
home there. So thank God.
It seems like a privilege to have a job these days.
It really
So,
does. Yeah.
yep. And
Yeah.
being a musician apparently is not a job, so
Oh,
or not an essential job.
I
Even I
know.
think that the musicians are more essential than most of the
Yeah.
most of the workers.
Yeah.
We bring the meaning to
A
life.
meaning to life instead of the banality of having
You
to
mentioned that
do
you
the
played with
numbers.
lots of uh, different musicians in your band. How is it playing and touring with new guys that you never seen before, never rehearsed before? Do you just you
I would rehearse with them. They would always make
you
sure
do?
that we have like rehearsal time. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Whether it would be like fly out before, and I'm very cautious now with who I work with. I'm very I don't know, like I'm not I'm not very fun. I'm very serious. I don't party. Like I'm a weirdo vegan. I wake up and do yoga, and I have like no tolerance for like drama and stuff. So it has to be like very specific people that don't annoy me. So like you can't, like you're in a van with somebody, like we're not Tiger Army. Like we're in a tiny little van, sometimes like it's a Toyota Camry for like weeks on end. So
Yeah, being in a band with someone is like almost like being married to them, having like
seriously,
family,
yeah.
But it's still the best job ever.
Yeah.
So,
Do you miss like being in smaller bands and playing like smaller rock clubs
um,
sometimes? I mean,
well,
when it happened,
not
when it
thinking that way. I'm always enjoying the moment. So, and I always think about like what can bring me more joy or more to the next level or what I want to reach, stuff like that. So it's not per se that I miss playing small shows because I know that I can always do that. But
That's true.
so uh yeah, it's yeah, so I wouldn't say that I miss it, but I equally enjoy playing like smaller shows and bigger shows. It's not I always play it the same way. I always give, my full heart and soul to the show. So it's the same. So I
It's
don't
good.
miss it. But
Yeah.
also, if I would stop playing big shows, I would not miss big shows. As long as I can play music, um, I miss playing music. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I miss. And if it's a smaller or bigger venue, that doesn't bother me too much. Um, a question. Since you mentioned that you're a vegan, I know I wanted to ask you. So, and you tour all over the U.S. What is the hardest place to find vegan food in the U.S.?
Oh, I feel like Austin, Texas was really hard, and it was
Oh,
kind of a
really?
surprise. Yeah, because I was like,
Oh,
oh, I thought you guys were like, hmm. um, but yeah, but I have to think. I have to think about it. There's always a grocery store though, so I'll
okay.
just go to a grocery store and like pick up some food. I try to not be a brat about it, but
That's kind of like always a good option. Sometimes if
yeah,
if a tour, I like go, instead of like some like you like not that good place, just go to Whole Foods or something and then get something it's
yeah,
that it's ready and decent, and like, all right, I had some salad that it's actually good, and then
yeah.
you're like, all right, another five
That's a
weeks to go.
yeah. You always need like the grocery store stop because you never know what you're gonna eat and if it's gonna like especially like European tour, like everybody would feed you and it'd be really nice and wonderful, but you never know where you're gonna get all the vegetables or like what they're gonna feed you or when. Which would always be like 10 minutes before you get on stage. Like, all
It's a
right.
different approach. I believe that in Europe it's kind of like almost they assume, especially if you play smaller venues, they kind of assume that they are supposed to, that they have to feed you. There's no,
Oh yeah,
you
they have.
know,
Yeah,
there's
that's the
no,
only way we eat. That's how we eat. It's like they
yes,
feed
yeah,
us.
like sometimes it's not,
They
you
feed us at
can't
night,
really
and then when
demand,
we wake up,
yeah, sometimes you cannot demand, Satan and tofu.
no. On everyone is always so accommodating and lucky. Like my agents are always like make sure I'm fed and housed.
Nice.
So even
So
if it's like
what is the agency that you're working with?
it would be oh god I mean none right now, but let's see, Rootstown was always good. Kurt was the best.
Ah,
He was really nice. Let's see, Sybil Detta helped out, I think, with a few shows. We've had some other agents who I won't mention, but they're the best. I love them.
okay. And you with your band, you have three albums out in one single.
We have two full lengths, an EP, and a single.
Ah, okay.
Mhm.
All right. It seems that the sound and the production value really improved from Pounds Like a Tiger, which was like 2011, until
Mm-hmm.
Heel Grinder, which is last year's
Yes.
album, right?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I think that you kind of reached with Heel Grinder, that you kind of found your own sound, like that the
Yes.
other two albums were kind of like more of a path to this album. You were still trying to search for yourself in a way. That's how I felt it. I really enjoyed Heel Grinder, and especially the title
Thank
song.
you.
That's
Thank you very
probably
much.
my favorite from your discography.
Yeah,
So
that I am I love that record. That record is really just something that is pure just like intensity and rage and determination to make happen. Um and it was like I said, um I couldn't wait around anymore for the right band or the right people, and so I got in the studio. Brian played lead guitar on it. I hired a studio drummer, and then I played upright bass on it, rhythm guitar, like keys or acoustic or like whatever else had to get put in there, and obviously like vocals, and then just made sure that I was able to express how I wanted it to sound and have the room to do with it, have the room to play with it, and just not give up until it was right. And there was an amazing engineer that I worked with who had a lot of experience, and it was very nice to be listened to. And finally, like, you're getting older, you're like, no, this is my show. This is how we're running it. And it just kind of came out. Now,
Who was the engineer? Who was the producer?
I produced it, so
Oh,
I
okay.
was the
And who
producer
was
on
an
it.
engineer then?
The engineer was Tony Maimona, and he was from oh my gosh, I forget. It was a Cleveland. It wasn't Husker Du, but he worked with them. It was like this art rock. I can't believe I'm like blanking on the name right now because it's been so long since I really thought about it. But he's worked with like so many people. And he's just like a very nice kind of like fatherly figure, and he was just very protective of my ideas. He was just making sure that I was able to have the space to have my ideas and not be like kind of. He was just very protective of me. It was nice to get in there and have somebody just kind of like really kind of like support you and believe in you like that.
That's
And
great. And so he was there like for the pre-production and the whole recording and everything.
he was the recording engineer. Yes.
Okay.
So we had we had like 4 hours of pre-production where we went in and like whatever, but I had everything charted out in like Excel charts for everybody. I'm like,
Oh wow. Okay.
this is how we're going
Loading it.
in. This is the instrumentation on everything. Here's the BPM. Here's the measures. Here's what you play here. And like Tony, make sure this is all that. And yeah. And I'll be like, okay, this is how I'm tracking some songs. I would for the scratch tracks it would be bass. Sometimes it would be guitar. Yeah, but it was, yeah, I still have the binder of like my crazy Excel charts for everything. And like all the demos, I had everything demoed out. Like here, I would just be like a maniac.
Oh
Um,
wow.
just like
Okay.
even like there were some songs like I wrote like the day of recording.
Oh
Like
really? Wow. Okay.
yeah, like the song Racing Death. We wrote I wrote while we were recording the album. We had a show at the Knitting Factory, and I just remember looking out and all my friends were there and it was great, but they were so sad. And I could say, I'm like, what's going on? Everybody's like, I could tell they were crying, but they were like, this was a great show and being really. And then I realized one of our good friends had died that day, and he was an upright player, and it was like he was probably like one of the first people that I had gotten me into like kind of like psychobilly music. Excuse me, in the area. And it kind of hit me hard because like a lot of people in the scene had been dying. And for some reason, like we weren't Facebook friends at the time because he was mad at me because I put on a festival and his band wasn't headlining. And I'm like, this is so stupid. Like what a stupid way to like, not be friends with somebody. Like how dumb. Um, and then so I wrote the song Racing Death, and it was just kind of about just the journey of life and like, racing death is always going to win. And it's what as the song goes, what happens in the middle, not the end. So and it was when we were in there, we were tracking the song. It was really crazy because there was also this interference that was coming through the amp, which was like weird gospel music. It was like, and it was just kind of like the ghosts of our friends kind of in there, and we left it in there. And so the very last sound that you hear on the record is that interference that's coming in, and we're like, I'm like, that's all of our friends saying hello.
It's amazing story. Sorry to hear about your friend. Um, that's the Racing That is is the closing song of
Yeah,
the album, right?
yeah, yeah.
So, friends, you should check out the album. Heel Grinder. You see, I even have a shirt that it's matching the.
I have one too.
Do you? Where is it?
Hold on, give me a second.
All right.
Should I grab it? but it's far away. Yeah.
um, it's I really really I like the album, as I said, like especially Heel Grinder song, and I feel that you really chose a good ones like for to be the title track. Also for your
Thank you.
2013 release Hitchhike. It's also kind of like I wouldn't say the best song, but it's the most memorable song of the album.
Yeah,
When I
that's
heard it for the second time, I was like, oh, this song sounds. Oh, okay, that's the one. Okay.
yeah.
Um,
That was for some reason. For Hitchhike, we just never captured the same magic of that song live,
hmm.
and that always made me a little sad. And that was one of the songs that Brian wrote, and I love that song. But for some reason, like we could not capture that energy again. It would always be, I don't know. And then we just kind of
So it's
stopped
better
playing
in the
it.
studio than live.
Hitchhike, yeah.
Okay.
Most songs, I'm gonna say like 99% of all of our songs are way better live.
Hmm.
I just feel like we're a band that, or just me performing. I don't know. Well, I mean, I like Heel Grinder a lot, that record, but I don't know. I feel like I feed off of people's energy. I feed off of the audience. I feed like what they're giving me. I just like amplify it and like send it back to them. And I don't know. There's just something about
Yes, it's all about that interaction. It's
that.
um, is there any particular process of like when you write songs? Do you have like um, your own way to do that? Do you usually write a bass line first, or lyrics, or melody, or chords? What's going on there?
It varies. It is different for each song, and I can kind of tell, like you can kind of tell what instrument I wrote the song on or what came first, by how it sounds. Um, like for instance, "The Devil Whispered to Me" is like really, that was like I wrote that song, just like I was in like the studio space by myself, just like playing guitar just really loud and thrashing on it, and that's what Joyce has, like that kind of like driving stomp to it. And then songs like "I Believe," it was like I was messing around with like an acoustic guitar, so it has like that feel to it. Some songs are like just voice memos that I've had on my phone for years. um, and then some songs, it's just like I'll sit down at my workstation and just like start just like laying out everything and kind of like playing all the instruments and just demoing out an entire song at once. um, but it really, it varies. It varies. The only thing that's really kind of the same is like I have to tell myself to sit down and just write. um, because I'll have so many ideas, and if I don't just sit down, I'm like, I'm gonna totally remember this best melody I've ever written in my life. I don't need to write this down. I don't need to record this, but I do. Um, so if you have it, catch the muse as it's passing by.
Voice memos on phones are really helpful. I do that a
Yeah.
lot, and then sometimes I hear it a few days later and say like, this was not that cool. I thought this was amazing, especially if I wake up in the middle of the night. I was like, okay, this is the best thing ever. So then I record, sing on it, and then in the morning, what was I
or
thinking?
or have like post-it notes. I'll be like, this is a great lyric, and it'll just be like a book of like, I just have all of these. I write everything down. I have just like tons of books. They're just
Oh
like a
wow,
fragment of a lyric or like
you
something.
write it on
And
a paper.
I love writing it on paper. Yeah. I
There's
can't. It's
something
not the. It's
about
like
that.
not the
Yeah,
same. Yeah.
I agree.
I love it.
It's
Like have
really
all
hard
the.
to move. It's really hard to move. Like when I have like so much paper.
Oh
Like
my gosh. Yeah. I still have like my books of like poetry and stuff that I wrote when I was like a teenager, like
oh
in my
wow,
tiny Brooklyn apartment.
keep it for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. Like, I mean, they displayed this January. They have a from this last January. They have a Tiger Army display over there. So we all had to send them our clothes and instruments, and
Oh, that's so
you know,
amazing.
I don't think anyone is able to see it because I don't think it's open because of the
One
COVID.
day.
But they sent us photos. So it's
Oh,
it's a cool thing. But I
that's
was planning
amazing.
kind of like I want to see this. It's gonna be it's pretty cool, but I never saw it.
You'll see
Uh,
it. It'll be an adventure. You'll have to like
yep.
videotape it.
You have like an amazing way like to play when you cover Little Richard. How many songs have you covered from Little Richard? Two?
um, on the we've only recorded one, but
Okay.
I covered so many different versions. So much Little Richard. I don't know, probably like a dozen songs.
It really fits well on your, with your voice, which is interesting because he was a guy, and then your voice, I feel that you're capturing that energy that he had, and he was really unique, and definitely one of my favorite rock and roll singers from the 50s.
Yes.
And yeah, it's yeah, I loved him. And have you ever seen him live?
No, I
No.
did not. I never had the opportunity to. No, I wish I did.
he was
Yeah.
he was special. First time I saw him, I actually went with Lemmy from Motorhead while we were playing together. We were on tour, and
Just casually
we
drop that. What?
we went together to see him in Green Bay, and
Ooh.
it was really cool because it was Lemmy's favorite, like the favorite singer. So we went there to see that.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
It was a cool experience. Yeah.
I had no idea Lemmy was a fan of Little Richard.
Oh yeah, that was the guy for him. Like he was
Oh,
like,
that's so cool.
yeah, he was. I mean, it's interesting how Little Richard is was influential. Like to people outside of rock and roll and rockabilly world. It was like in and for regular rock guys.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters about that, and he it was one of his favorite guys too. And it's interesting how somehow he got out of that 50s rockabilly and really influenced like hard rock guys. He
Yeah.
had something special. I mean, he was so amazing. I love Little Richard still, and I think you're doing amazing job when you sing your stuff, or
Thank you
or
very
or he do
much.
the covers. It's really bringing that energy, that growl.
He
But I'm
just
sure that people tell you that, right? Like,
yeah, some do.
okay,
Or some people will be like, nobody else should sing Little Richard. I'm like, don't be mean. But yeah, no, it's not anything intentional. It's just that's how it comes out. It's just that is music. Life is hard, man. And the only like music is just such a pure expression of everything. It's just such a way of taking everything and every ounce of you and to just be able to like push it out. And that's just the way that it comes out of me. And I'm not trying to be Little Richard, because I mean, if you put it side by side, it doesn't really like sound like, but I think people identify is kind of maybe it's the intensity, the authenticity of it, maybe. Um, but yeah, I'm super honored anytime anybody makes that comparison, because I think just such a brilliant voice, not only in music, but just culturally, like just a cultural phenomenon. Um, and we're very lucky to live in a time that we shared with Little Richard.
absolutely. I've seen him only twice. It was that Green Bay and Viva Las Vegas, but it was cool. It was not always the way I wanted to see Little Richard, but it was really cool, like to
Yeah.
see um
Yeah.
to see
Such
him
an
still
interesting
rocking.
such an interesting life. Like
Oh yeah,
so
have you read the book?
conflicted. Um I haven't read the book, but I've read a lot. Have you had the Disgraceland podcast?
No.
You'll have to listen to that one too. But it's just just the own battles of inside his own self, and how he viewed himself, how he thought he was supposed to live. And I just feel like that the battle between the two of them, it was just kind of expressed in his music. And I think that's a lot of the reason why people also can relate to him.
It was definitely something special. How do you
Mhm.
choose covers that you want to play?
Um, there's just songs that I love, and I try singing them, and I will. Some I can sing well, some I can't. So I try to go with the ones I know how to sing well. I was just going through because I'm doing a live stream tomorrow, and I was like, oh, let me like kind of freshen up like the set list. What should I do? And I have a book of like 200 songs that we've done like as a band, and it's like, oh,
All right,
some we
so
do
let's
better than others.
promote your live stream. Where and when can people see you?
I am going to have a live stream on Sunday. It's going to just be on my Facebook page and probably also on the band YouTube page. And yeah, it's just going to be me telling slightly awkward stories like this, and playing rock and roll. I'll probably have my guitar.
What time?
We'll be hanging out 1 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. So
Yes.
1 p.m. Eastern
Yeah.
tomorrow,
Woo. Woo, woo,
Sunday,
woo.
the 15th of November.
Yes.
Make sure to go to Laura Palmer uh, personal Facebook and or her band's
Yeah,
YouTube.
Screaming Rebel
And
Angels YouTube. No G in Screamin', or facebook.com/Laura Rebel Angel.
okay, all the links are below, so make sure to follow Laura Palmer as well. Um, what are your favorite songs to play live? Like do you have you know a list
Ooh.
or
I mean, it's always "Oh My Soul's" like my favorite song to play.
oh
I
really?
love it. That's a good one. I love to
And
play
you did a
"Baby
video
Gets."
for that, right?
Yes, yeah, I
Oh,
did the video for that. That was the first. That was the other thing with like the videos for this record too. Um, I learned, I taught myself how to edit video just because I wanted to be in control of like my image and like how I looked and how the video would just come across, and also, to be able to pay a video editor what they're worth for the amount of time that it takes to like properly edit a video was just like, but I still, I can't believe that video came together. I was so happy about that. I filmed it at my sister's house, got some of like my best friends to like come with me, and just like I mapped out this storyline, and and so we're like, oh, it's gonna be like, we're just like kind of conjuring up like our soul, and we have like all of these uh oh my god, I'm just like watching it like, yeah. Oh my god, the bat dance. Okay, so this was the last thing that we shot. Like, we shot this all in one day, and it's like, oh, we're gonna have this bat dance. I had like such a great idea for the costumes and how it's all gonna look. So it's, I don't know, maybe it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. It's like, okay, here's our costumes. You put them on, and they're all like child sized. Like, nothing's like covering anything, and like like you'd snap it and it would just like come up, and oh my god. And then we're like, okay, let's work on the choreography. And so the blonde haired girl is a choreographer, and the rest of us are just terrible. So that's why our dance is just like this. I mean, and that was a challenge, but that was probably the most fun. Like, we were just like on the floor rolling around. Like, oh, it's complete madness. But
that
yeah.
looks cool. I kind of feel I can see a little bit of a Cramps influence, at least in
Oh,
the video.
yes, absolutely. I love the Cramps. I love the Cramps and like Little Richard.
Oh yeah,
Those
okay.
are, yeah, that's my thing.
Oh really? Oh cool.
Yeah.
Any other
So,
influences that you would like to mention?
oh,
Like creating?
yeah, like Sister Rosetta Tharpe. Oh, I love
No.
her so much. She's just so amazing. Just like, she was so joyous in her singing. She was so amazing on her like Gibson. And so I finally learned one of her songs. So I'll have to play that in a live stream sometime. But it's very curious. For years I was trying to figure it out. I was like, wow, how is this? And she drops down her tuning to C sharp.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. This is just like in a total key. I'm like, why are her fingers not matching? This doesn't sound
Okay.
like, because you're like watching her videos. But yeah, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, Laverne Baker. I do a lot of Laverne Baker covers. Big Maybelle Smith. I do a lot of, like, when we have the longer sets, I do a lot of rhythm and blues. Um, yeah, there's
It seems that R&B like
obviously,
really fits your voice, and it sounds great.
yeah.
So
Thank you,
I like that
thank you.
influence.
Yeah, it's fun. It's so fun to play.
Are there any new music coming up?
New music. I'm not sure when anything's going to be released, but I am writing. I am recording. I am challenging myself to just kind of do full arrangement covers of playing all the instruments and just kind of like producing that in my home studio, just to kind of see where my skill set lies and if I can get it out there. Like, because I don't want to go into debt for another record, to tell you the truth. That last one cost a lot of money, and I'd rather save my money. But yeah, so side tangent. Yeah, there should be some new music coming out. There should be some covers. Um, but as far as like a record, if it's Screamin' Rebel Angels, if it's like something else, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. We'll see what it sounds like. See what the world's like. No
Yeah.
pressure.
So whenever if people want to find out about it, what's the best way to where should
Um,
they look? Like your
still,
website?
yeah, still go to screaminrebelangels.com. You can
Okay.
sign up for my email list there, or follow any of the socials on Instagram, Facebook. Follow the band page. I'll update it with good information. Anything new happens,
And all
I
the
try to
links are
share.
below the video. Make sure to follow Laura's band. Um, so and you mentioned that the new record. I mean, those songs that you're writing. By the way, it's amazing that you have an inspiration during COVID time because lots of my musician friends have been complaining like that they're like cannot find inspiration. That it's just like really kind of depressing and it's hard to find
Yeah,
a reason to write songs. So I'm
I've
glad you don't have that problem. I'm glad that you're productive and that you're able to write and that you're able to record at your home. So, which is great.
I'll try. I'll see how good it sounds. But
Yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
feel.
it's at least like a demo, if it's
Oh
not
yeah,
final,
yeah.
so it's great.
I'm out. But
Um,
I feel like not touring and not having to deal with like all like booking, because I do like the US booking and like UK and Canadian. Um and I don't know. I feel like kind of free that I'm not dealing with band business like 95% of the time. Like, and I kind of feel closer to the music at this point because, I don't have to be like writing contracts. I don't have to like be emailing like venues or like promoters or anything. I don't have to be like stressing out about how to pay for everybody's like plane tickets or like book tours or how is this going to work? Am I
really
going to have
stressful.
vacation days? Yeah, it's stressful. And it's like it really kind of takes you further away from the music. So I like for not forever, but just for right now to be able to create music without any pressure and without any expectations for it, and just make music for the sake of making it.
And the theme of the new songs, did it change, during the lockdown and pandemic, or it's still in the same
It's it's
style?
a it's a little different, I think. I feel like when I was writing Heel Grinder and recording Heel Grinder, that was something like I just had all of this that I just wanted to get out, all this like pent up kind of just intensity and rage, for lack of a better explanation. And this is more like longing, I guess, but still intensity and kind of like loss. But I don't know, but not, but still in like a very, still, I don't know, I don't know how to explain it better. And it's also like when I put in Heel Grinder, it's like not something that you can listen to when you're like just sitting in your house. Like it's very, like you listen when you have a purpose is
Live.
like you're listening to that. Yeah, it's like really intense, high energy. And it's like I want to make music that I can listen to that I would want to hear now
Oh,
instead
okay.
of, you know,
So the new songs are more chill.
they're just different. They're kind of like they're not as like in your face, I think.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I don't want anyone to think that lost any of like the edge or the intensity of it. It's just kind of like a evolution and like a little bit of a different way.
Do you think that it's gonna reach different audience, different fans?
Maybe, but like that's kind of like I'm just kind of rating like what I'm without any expectations of like does anybody gonna want to listen to this besides me? Like I don't know. I just have zero pressure for it. Or if people want to listen to the old stuff's still there, you know?
Yeah. I
If
mean, so
there's
you're
I
doing it, for the good reason. You're doing, for the right reason. You're doing it for the music, and you're doing it for
yeah,
yourself. So,
just I
um,
can't I can't wait to that one moment when like you just listen to like the finished song or like the finished album and you sit back and you're just like yes. Or actually the first time you listen to it you're like yes. But like oh god. But you know that feeling, right?
of course, of
Yeah.
course,
I just yeah. That's what I'm that's what I'm writing for.
that's awesome. Um, do you see? I mentioned fans. Like, do you feel uh, that your band's fans like changed over the years, like since you started and now?
Yeah, I think so. I think like when I started, it was just there was more of a scene in New York.
Hmm.
There was more of like a rockabilly kind of rock and roll, like the psychobilly, rockabilly, and garage scenes all just kind of like hung out together. Everyone had fun. There wasn't really much because it was kind of I was throwing a show, so everything was like new and fun, and everybody was coming together. And then we started touring. Um, and I think my fans were like a lot of like younger women. And then we started playing car shows and we'd always play like motorcycle shows. And then like that's a different kind of fan set. And then I think our fans really started to shift when we started doing kind of um, like smaller like music shows like on TV, and then we started to get fans that were like music fans from there, and they weren't like scene fans. Or then when we played with bands like Imelda May, like her fans were just like still our fans. So they started to evolve a little bit. So it went from more of just being like our friends that we'd hang out with and kind of like in the scene to just more kind of music fans. And I like that. It's nice to kind of get to a spot where it's just like you don't have to text all your friends to come to your show. Um, you know what I mean?
And that's the
And
best thing about like when you're an a support act of of some like similar band, because you kind of try to grab their audience and
yeah,
make them to be your fans as well.
and it's nice, and it was and I know like specifically with Imelda May, she's like I want to have local rockabilly bands and I want my fans to like meet them. So she was very intentional with that, and that is one of the best things I think like musicians can do. A lot of bands have like
That's
treated us
great.
really well, like the Chop Tops and the Rockets, and they just kind of like instilled in me since that when I was like a baby band of just look out, like give other people a hand up too, like and it's nice, especially in our scene, that it's small, that to see people helping out like that.
That's
You know who the
great. I
good
mean,
ones are.
especially since I heard like, and I know that lots of bands like back in the day, like in the 80s, the bigger bands, they in the 90s, they kind of requested um, no rockabilly bands, no upright bass players in the opening bands, just so they can have a different, very different and unique sound from the opening band. So
Hmm.
which I can kind of see, but I think it's much cooler what you said, the Imelda May did. Although she really kind of got out of that scene and the whole
Yeah,
rockabilly thing. It's a
that's
very
understandable.
different
No.
sound now. What do you say?
Yeah, it's understandable. Go through a big life change, then you're going to like change your music as well.
Yeah, it was a big shift. So it's I think I like the new sound, but it's I still think that I prefer. I mean, I definitely prefer the
Yeah,
her older stuff more rockabilly.
well, that music's
And
still there.
yes, of course. And but I really respect when musicians and bands grow, and then when the sound is not exactly the same as on the fifth album as on the first one. So, um,
Yeah,
but at the same time, I don't want to uh, get a a new Motorhead record and then to sound like
yeah,
something
yeah.
you
Like
know like Shakira or something.
that would be awesome though. But yeah,
So
you don't want to alienate your fans, and you don't want to like, yeah. But you also like kind of want to just keep growing as a musician and keep learning how to. Just that's the nature of just playing.
I
Like you're
agree.
gonna be constantly learning and changing your style, and your taste changes as you experience more, and you can't stay the
That's
same.
that's something that I actually think about a lot. Um, and since the music, I want to start releasing more of my original music now, and I've been listening to it, and it's all over the place. I mean, you have a rockabilly stuff and blues stuff and jazz stuff and more rock stuff, but I also have like Turkish classical music and Bulgarian folk music and Serbian, like all this stuff
Oh,
that I
that's
wrote
awesome.
in different music styles. And I always wonder, how should I have like a different projects? But then I feel kind of like I'm not a five projects. I'm one project. I want to have just myself express, my view on things. So I wonder how
Yeah.
people would react. Actually, you viewers can let me know. Write down in the comments. Not a live chat. Write down so I can see it later on and remember it. How would you like that? Would you be okay with that or you would hate that?
Personally, I would love that.
All right.
I would love to hear like somebody throw in like some traditional like Bulgarian folk music. Hell yeah. That's
Cool.
awesome. Like you start learning so much more about a person too by all like the different kind of music that they're into and that they write.
That's how I see
Right?
it too. And I think
Yeah.
that, time might be right. I did a few solo shows, a handful of solo shows where I mixed all of that and people loved it. So I think that, I should continue in that direction. But I always wonder what people can, what people think about if they expect, you to play just surf or just blues and then you throw, Indian song or something.
Uh,
Um, I mean, as we said, the band's been together for about 10 years, almost next year.
almost. I
Yeah.
know.
How has things changed for you as a musician from then, or
Oh
even
my
before
god.
when you started on guitar until now?
It's light years. It's just like light years between now. I think I had the biggest musical growth between Hitchhike and Heel Grinder. And that's kind of like when, I just started, I just got really serious about it. I got serious about music. I got serious about my health. I got serious about just what I enjoyed. And I just wanted to just kind of just express that kind of growth musically. Um, yeah, just even like learning how to play, just being a better musician, like learning how to play upright. And I'm always taking lessons. I'm always taking classes. I'm one of those people that I can sit down with like a um, and try to figure out things, and I love doing that. But I also love like taking lessons from someone who is amazing and just like learning things that you would never think about just like playing on your own. And I think that's invaluable. And I think that I'm just constantly trying to learn. I'm constantly trying to like practice and just become a better musician. And there's just so much to learn. Um,
I couldn't agree more. Like I always thought that um, lessons and just like learning from people, especially from different styles,
yeah.
really can help out. So I'm curious about it. Who are you? Uh, who are you studying with? Like, what do you use? Like, do you use
Uh,
like online class or like in person, or
so right
how
now
far as
I am
base goes?
Oh, for bass, I was doing in-person classes, and he was. I'm like, I can't remember his name right now. This is so bad. This is so late out here. My God, why is it? But yeah, he come here. He was a jazz player, so I just learned the some of the stuff that I learned from him was just like so amazing. It was before I went on tour, like with one of the guitarists that was talking to me. He's like, "Listen, just take a few classes so you just know just some of mechanics of it. Just like this stuff, just like how you hold the bass. Like I didn't know you're not supposed to play with your ring finger, so like I learned that in the lesson. You learned like how to just use your like body pull for things or how to get more volume, and those are things that you just can't really. I mean, you'll maybe you can eventually figure them out, but that is something that like really benefited from lessons from me, just to be able to like really get in and be able to like dig in, to be able to play where you don't hurt yourself. That's very important. Yeah. And then right now for like guitar, right? My favorite guitar player, kind of like on our kind of music right now, is Austin John Duty from the High Drivers. So I've been taking guitar lessons with him since like March or April, since the pandemic started. Um, and that's been amazing. That's just like I mean, I've been taking guitar lessons for so long, but this was like finally when it opened up, and I just figured out lead guitar. Just figured out everything finally made sense, because coming from a classical background, it's like if it's not written down and if you're not reading the music, it's hard to improvise. And I finally learned how to really do that with a guitar. This.
And you're doing that online with him?
Yeah, yeah, we Skype. He's in Nashville. I'm in New York. We meet like once a
That's
week.
great.
Yeah,
I love doing lessons, online. I was a little bit skeptical about it, but it actually I do enjoy doing that.
yeah,
And and I finally have time to do it because I always loved teaching. And then before I started touring like crazy, I had lots of time, and then all of a sudden, like zero time. So like I always, and then
yeah.
lose all the students, and then back, and then but I always enjoy doing that. it's
Are
it's
you
it's
teaching
fun.
now?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I always do, but I always it always depends how much time I have. So
Right.
it's a little tricky. But I do, and I enjoy, and I'm actually working on an online course that I plan to put out. But now I'm busy again, so it's like I have less time to to finish all of that. But I'll do it. Everything that I decide to do, I do it. But sometimes takes lots of
Yeah.
time.
You got to trust the process. Put the plan in place.
Yes,
It'll
yes,
happen. Speak it into
yes.
the
But it,
world.
yeah, but I'm enjoying the ride. The ride is what I care
Yeah.
about the most. Um, and I gotta, I have to ask you, as a woman musician, what advice can you give like to other females starting out? Or what would
Oh,
be like your pros and cons about that?
oh, there's so much advice. Okay. One, this is gonna save yourself a lot of problem. Music is not a competition. Music is fun. Music is an expression of yourself. Find out your voice. Find out who you are. Just like unique in that way, because there is only one of you, and it is not a competition between women. It is not a competition between bands. Just build a network also of people that you want to see succeed and people that want to see you succeed, and put your effort into those people. Also, don't take shit. Like, don't you can't. You have to be confident, be strong in your opinions, and define where your lines are, define what your boundaries are, define like what you will accept as a person. And it can be something as simple as like, you know, I don't like this kind of humor. Somebody's calling me like the B word or something like friendly. Like, I don't like that. You don't have to accept it. You don't, you know, don't be afraid to take chances. Don't be afraid to be sweaty. Don't be afraid to be ugly. Don't be afraid to just like let it all fall away. Find your sisters, find your brothers. Um, you know, there's music is such an invaluable tool that we have, just for expression and living and life and just be part of it. I want to see more women in music. Every time I play a show and there'll be like a little girl like in the front, I will be like, you can write a song. And I will tell everybody this right now, wherever you guys are, you can write a song with one chord. You can listen to my record. I have a one chord song on there. It's Sweet Petunia. You can write a song with one chord. Just do it, and that'll be your song. You know, you don't have to wait for forever. You don't have those feelings of you're not good enough. Be confident. Nobody think everybody's always constantly learning, you know. Don't be afraid to just get in there, do it. It's not a competition, it's an enjoyment.
All great advice, and I would definitely like to see more women, especially in rock and roll, because you know what few of you bring. It's just amazing. It's what we
Mm.
need. And would you, and by your opinion, do you has it got any easier for women to be in the music industry?
I don't know. I feel like it's easier for me now, but I feel like it's because I've grown as a person and an artist. Like I'll just like kind of walk in and just be like, "Hi, I'm Laura," and that's, you know, um, and you know, I don't have, I'm not as shy as I used to be. I'm more confident, and I just don't even have a window of opportunity for anybody to not give me that respect. Um, I think also, I think just by more women and just normalizing it and just seeing like the representation of seeing people like you, like I think it's so important to be able to like look up and like see somebody that you think that you can be like on stage. I think that's really important, you know. So I'll be like, I want to be that. You know, I just think, yeah,
It's good to be an example, especially positive example, and it's I think it's really rewarding because you know often you know with music you don't have get rewards like you know big house or you know lots of money or this, but what you can get you know as far as it can really feed your soul and heart. So
yeah,
I think those things are more important
mm-hmm.
and more rewarding and at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And my last girl question is how do you play with heels on stage?
Oh, I don't know. I've been playing with boots a lot recently,
Oh
or
yeah.
the heels. It has to be wedges. It works. It depends on the set length. It depends on the set length, and it depends on how high the heels are. But I'm always like, I'm not gonna do my hair. I'm not gonna put on lashes. I'm not gonna wear heels. Blah blah blah. Then the show gets closer and closer, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it. So it's like I have that part of me that's like, I don't want to conform to a beauty standard, but then like the other side of me is like, I feel like I want to dress up like this and have this experience. I want to be that like glamorous, like strong, like um. So I don't know. So how do I play in heels? I don't know. Sometimes I kick them off.
I mean, I don't have that experience. Maybe I should try one day, you know.
Why not?
But
Go do it.
is it
Lux did
hard
it.
like to stand on bass?
Is it what?
Is it hard to stand on bass? Do you stand on the bass like with
I
your
no,
heels?
no, I don't. I'm a very tall girl, and I don't stand on the base.
Oh, okay.
I throw the base around, or actually, sometimes I used to stand on the base.
I thought I seen some photos. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, there are. I shouldn't say that. Yes, I would stand on the base in heels, but usually not when I was playing it. So that's probably when like I was
Okay.
playing guitar or something. Yeah. But if I'm playing bass, then I'm usually running around stage like trying to throw it at my guitarist or something, or like someone in the crowd, or I don't know, like and I'd be like, I don't know, how did this get over my head? I don't know.
um, and
Like superhuman strength.
you mentioned your day job. You're a professional designer, right?
Uh, yeah, basically. Well,
Okay.
I just got promoted, so I am currently a creative director, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, nice.
For it's like I work in fashion. It's like it's corporate stuff, but it is paying the bills for rock and roll,
Yeah,
and it's I just approach
the
it
thing to do.
that I'm having fun.
I guess
Yeah,
like this year,
yeah.
the thing
I'm
to
very
do this
thankful that
year
I
is
have
like to
it.
win a Marypolitan Award, female rockabilly female of the year, and to get promoted in a corporate world.
Yeah, yeah. Feel very lucky for that. I didn't get a raise with it, but I got a title at least. So I'll
Um,
work on that for 2021.
and you mentioned that you do your own video editing, you do your own artwork, like album
Mhm.
covers as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do like the graphic design on that too. The heel grinder that's actually like my chair that's right there. You can just see it like
Um,
it's right off. And it's my best friend yeah, I don't think you can see it. My best friend Jolie came over and she shot it here, and she was the girl with bangs in the Oh My Soul video. She's a super talented photographer. She does like all this kind of like surreal stuff. Um so she shot that. um but
that's
yeah,
this
like
one. Let me show
yeah,
it
that's this
again.
one. Yep.
So
That is that curtain that you see right there, and that chair which you can't see, which is right there. And yeah, here's a little bit redder.
do you
um
plan to do the design work for other bands as well, or like it's,
no,
or
I
you're
don't
reserved
know.
for yourself?
No, I like to work. It's like I don't know. I like to work on it. I do it for other friends. Like if a friend needs help or something, I will
Uh-huh.
100% like jump in there, help them out. If a friend's like, oh, I don't know how to make a flyer, or I don't know how to do this, I am all about sharing my skills and like teaching people or helping them out. Yes. As far
Nice.
as doing it as a job for somebody else, no, I don't want to do it.
You have
Well,
enough
I have
with that,
enough.
like, on the day
I
job.
yeah, enough on the day job. But I'm yeah. But that's the cool thing about having a band. There's so many different opportunities to create things. Like I make oh, do I have any right here? I make these little mini fanzines that are just like wait. Like looking around my desk. Hold on. Do I have one? Oh, I think I just like gave them all away. Okay. But I make like these cute little mini fanzines or like little stories about the band, or like little just like new pins and just like fun little merch things or art, or just like even just like doing crazy little like ads for the videos. But I don't know. It's just fun to make stuff.
So you're definitely a creative person.
Yeah.
When
Keeps me
things
busy. I'm antisocial. I
you
don't go
are?
out. I don't leave my house.
Ah,
Yeah, I don't go. I
are you
don't
an introvert?
Kind of. Yeah,
Kind of?
a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like a noisy introvert.
I mean, you don't seem like an introvert, like this.
Maybe. I
So
don't know.
I
I'm
don't
not sure.
know. Okay.
I don't know what I am, but I like to not leave my house.
Huh. And when things pick up, like, do you plan to start touring regularly again?
I think so. I mean, yeah. I don't know what that's gonna look like, but I definitely like. I can't imagine not playing music. I think I'll probably have a lot of opportunities. I mean, I was, playing locally. So who knows? I would love to tour again. I would love to like do all of the shows that were booked for 2020 at a safer time. We were booked for like the Viva Las Vegas. That was the first time that we were booked, and we had such a Saturday night at like 1 a.m. and like one of the ballrooms. Oh, it's gonna be so
Wow.
amazing. We're gonna play the Nashville Boogie too. We were playing Screamin' Festival in Spain, and like the weekend before that, we had
Well,
just
we
like
were
all
booked
these.
for that festival too. I think
Were
so.
you really? Oh,
I'm
that would have
pretty
been fun. We
sure.
would have played a few festivals together.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know for Nashville Boogie, and we were. No, no, we were supposed to play Psychobilly Meeting. That's, I guess, different.
Oh, and Pineda.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Yes.
was nice. We were not playing that one. We had a weekend of shows on like the French Riviera. And I was like, oh,
Nice.
one day that'll happen.
We cannot do that, but we can still play some live stream music. Can we do a
Yes.
little more?
Yeah. What?
Okay,
Sure.
let's do something.
Okay. All right.
Mm.
Hold on. Let me here. Let me put my video up.
All right. While Laura is getting ready, I would like to remind you to subscribe and give me one of those, and also turn on all the notifications, because apparently without turning on all the notifications, these subscriptions don't actually tell you when there's new video out, and you do not want to miss videos like Laura Palmer, because they're all special. I live stream every Saturday, 11 o'clock California time, which is 2 o'clock New York time. So make sure to subscribe, give me a like, all notifications, and don't forget about super chats. They're all under the live chat, super chatters and super stickers, and then your comment will be featured. All right, seems that Laura Palmer is ready. Let's rock and roll.
All right. Well, since you said Heel Grinder is your favorite song, I got a buffon and a broken heart. It's alright, glowing dog. I so sharp we can kill a man. Oh, wait, actually, I forgot how to play that. Wait a second. Hold on.
Well, it sounded cool.
I haven't played that on bass in so long. Hold on. Let me figure out the bass song. Um. I'm starting to get loopy because it's like 1:30 in the morning here. Hold on, let me take this off. Yeah, okay. I got a buffon and a broken heart. It's all bright and glowing dark. I so sharp and kill a man. Don't get away because you're not to play. Cause I'm a heel got a baby. 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 Go down and twist your heart. Ow! Hip shaking rhythm and a humming beat. Click, click, letters on the street. Hop and up and let's try to come feel the power of a rhythm sing. Cause I'm a heel got a baby. 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 Go down and twist your heart. Oh my god. Oh, that is so embarrassing. I forgot my own song.
No, sounds great.
Oh, I
One
must
thing
do
I
that
wanted
a
to
long
ask you
time
about,
ago.
keep the bass now. Keep the bass now.
Okay.
I have like a
Okay.
one bass question for you.
Uh-oh.
I would like to ask you about nomenclature and the terminology that you're actually using when you're playing slap. Um,
Okay.
I would like you, if you can show me uh, all the all the different patterns that you use, and please name them. So I would like to see and show how people have like different approaches. There's no
Okay.
right or wrong. I'm trying to make sense out of all of that, but I would like to get as much input as possible.
All right. So what would I call this? I just call this just like our we'd be like, do you wanna play it hillbilly? So just a double slap. So that's just a 1, 2, 2. So that's the double slap. So and then we like the little triple slap in there after the single slaps. Let's see. What else do I like also just doing just like a few slap accents that just like hit with the snare. So just in your pitsy. I don't know what that is. So that's like I call beating my bass. Let's see. What other patterns do I use? Let's see. I just try to keep it really clean and simple. I feel like when I'm playing and I need a bass player, or what I want to hear is I just want people to play in time and in tune. So to me, that is probably like the most important thing, is to be able to just kind of keep that gallop going, which is this is always just my favorite. And then just go faster. What is that? Drag? I don't know what's that called.
Well, it depends. I have I when I
That
teach, I usually count both slaps of the fingers when of the string and palm slaps. So I used a little bit different terminology, but
yeah, I'm probably not right at all.
I mean, there's no right or wrong. I think there are different schools about it, and yeah. So I'm trying
But,
to, as I said, like I'm trying to categorize everything, and so I want to collect as much data as possible.
oh, there's like this West Coast style that a lot of players play, that I am obsessed with learning, and it's like you'll see like the guys like it's like the guy from the Delta Bombers, the guy from um that plays with like Hank 3, and like their slaps are um they hit it with like their pinky and their thumb, so it's I don't know how they do it, but that is something I want to learn. If somebody can teach me that one day, I
Just
love
watch
it.
the episodes with Kim Neckerman and Victor, like on the
Ah,
Slapstream. Vic was really explaining really well, and he made some slow mo videos that really go into that.
ah,
So
yeah,
you might need a little bit different setup than what you're using,
yeah.
but
Mine's a
it's
little, little higher than normal. I think my action, for some reason, is a little bit higher. It's normally about a quarter of an inch, and it seems like it's about a half an inch right now.
okay.
So,
So
uh,
it's
I don't know what happened.
it's a a little bit different approach, but
Yeah.
yeah, but it's a cool thing. We should all know everything.
Yes, I'm all about that. I'm all about like I always want to be a better bass player. Yeah. So,
But before that, we should try to find your own voice, which you have, which is great. Um, all right, thanks for explaining the patterns. I have a few more questions, so you can leave the bass in the corner
I shall put you.
now. Thank you.
Hi, buddy.
Um, See, the bass is happy. You should
It is.
slap it
I
more often.
know. I've missed you. Okay. Why is this not? Hold on.
Is it on some kind of stand?
Yeah, it's on a stand. I think the stand. There we go. That's good. I'm little again. Hold on.
Yeah.
There we go.
Camera adjustment.
There we go. Oh, don't see my messy room. There we go.
All right, now we're back to normal again. Who would you say are your biggest influences on your bass playing?
Willie Dixon.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like, yeah. I mean, you can't tell from that because, I mean, but it's all, yeah, Willie Dixon, definitely. And I think also when I was learning how to play upright, what I was listening to a lot was, what I was listening to a lot was just the Go Getters and the Bell Furies. And there's just, I think I take a lot of, like, just their playing was like really clean, and I really like their choices, and it was still, they kept it very simple in a way that benefited the song, but then it was like kind of complicated in some of like their song choices or some of the patterns that they would go in. um yeah, so yeah, I think, and like I didn't even realize like how much of an influence the go get some of the Go Getters records had on me until I needed to like learn the songs when I started playing with the Go Getters. So that was a really cool moment to be like, oh, oh, that's where this came from in like my brain.
That's that's so cool. Like, and I really like both bands. Bell Fury is actually opened for us on a whole tour. So I had the pleasure
Oh,
of listening to them every night, and it was
that must
for
have been an amazing
5 weeks or
show.
something. It was really cool. Yeah,
Nice.
I really like um, their songs, especially the songwriting. I love Joy's
Hmm.
singing, and um, really special and unique band on the scene. And I'm friends
Yes.
with all of them. We still I see Mike whenever I go to Austin, guitar player,
Mhm.
and it's definitely a cool band, really cool band.
Yeah. Oh,
So besides Willie Dixon, anybody else that is an influence on your playing?
on my plane,
Or
I don't want to like. Besides like those players is too.
oh, okay. So so
Yeah.
they had like a different bass players. So which ones are you talking from? Go Getters.
Oh.
Sorry,
Um.
I didn't
I don't know
didn't
any.
understand.
I
So
don't.
okay.
I'm a very terrible. I'm sorry, bass players, that I don't know all your names. But I value your contributions to the song and music.
Oh, that's important.
I
And
do. I value you.
what would you say? Like, how did you develop your own style of playing?
um, kind of through necessity. I feel like I think a lot of I play a little high up too, and I think it's because the strings that I use are pretty low tension. So just um I think that style there. And then it's just um like when I'm really playing, I feel like I'm a better bass player when I'm not playing in my own band. I'm a better bass player when I'm just sitting like, playing with other people. Um yeah. I'm not sure. I think my style is just like I just try to be clean and like serve the song in it as best as I can.
It's all about a pocket, uh,
Yeah.
and how you lock with the drummer.
Lock in with
And
the
if you have
drummer.
a groove, you got a groove. People can dance. If you don't have a groove, people not gonna dance, and they're not gonna come to see you again. Um,
Oh, no pressure. So terrifying
yeah.
at all.
um, what would you say would be? Do you have like some? What would be the most essential slap bass recordings for you?
The most
Do you have anything?
oh, these are such good questions. I wish I had.
I wanna hear some good answers too.
Oh God, the most essential slap bass. Oh my
I
God.
mean, from Willie Dixon or whoever is an influence on
I
you.
mean, yeah, Willie. It's all like it comes back to Willie Dixon always.
Okay.
Um, but then also like some of the rockabilly guys that were just so kind of important. And even, and don't judge me for this, but even like when I first realized like that Billy Haley song "Rock Around the Clock" has no drums in it, and like that's all upright bass, and then same as like Johnny Burnett, like Rock and Roll Trio. I don't know, just like finally realizing how like percussive and it's like the rhythm and the music, the melody of creates the groove. God, so much pressure. Stop. Small screen, small screen.
You prefer this?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Chris
um,
is like, don't say anything stupid. You tend to go off on tangents. I'm like, God.
well, you're not saying anything stupid. Although Rock Around the Clock did have a drummer, and
It did? Are you
yeah,
kidding me?
it was
What?
I think it was Billy
No.
Buzak that
That's
played
it.
drums
I'm
on Rock
I'm
Around the
setting
Clock.
this on fire. I'm never playing it again. My world is shattered. See what you
But
did?
the
Are you
bass,
serious? It didn't? I have to listen to it now.
they
You're like
usually have
pressuring
done
me for an
something.
answer. I take it all back.
This is all about entertaining. So as long as It's fine. But you're right. Like the bass sound of that record is so essential and so important, and it was played by Marshall Lytle, um, and it's beyond amazing. I
It's
mean,
like
I
a
love it. And Bill Haley always had good sound on the bass. And I actually interviewed Marshall Lytle for my website, Art of Slap Bass,
ooh.
um, years ago, and he was so cool. He answered. I sent him about 50 questions, and then he was at a hospital and answered on them all. I told him,
Aw.
whatever you feel like it. If you don't want to answer all of that, you don't have to. If you have time to answer, it's cool. So he did
Aw.
answer all of it, and it was amazing. It was really really cool. Um,
I
and
love him, even though I've been spreading lies about him for like years. And
oh,
fans be like, "There's no
it's
drums on this track." What the hell?
it's he did such a amazing job. And this is interview with Marshall Lytle that I did. Let me see, when did I do that? It was in 10 years ago,
Wow.
2010. And his leg was just amputated, and he was in a hospital, and
Oh
he answered on all 50 of my questions.
my
This is the
god.
base that it's now at the Hard Rock Cafe in Orlando.
Very
First
cool.
time when I went to Orlando, all my friends went to amusement parks. So then I was like, I have to go to Hard Rock Cafe. I was like, why are you going there? It's so lame over there. I was like, rock around the clock
You just
base
wait.
is over there. I have to see it.
Yes.
So he was super nice guy, and I like his playing. Very influential, very influential.
Hmm.
Although the bass player that played before him in Bill Haley's band uh, was for me equally as important, and his name was Al Rex. He died uh, earlier this year, I believe that he died. So he was an older gentleman, and I think he died in May.
Um,
Yeah, he died in May. Um, but he actually played before Marshall Lytle and after Marshall Lytle in Bill Haley's band, and also had like very influential sound. And you were right about Johnny Burnett, and the bass play sound on that those recordings are just amazing. I love it, and it was mostly Bob Moore, who's still around, still in Nashville, one of the most recorded bass players. And he actually played bass on um, Crazy, so with Patsy Cline. So
wow.
and lots of talking about essential recordings, lots of essential stuff, but not much slap. But he was excellent slapper.
Hmm.
Do you have a favorite recording from Willie Dixon?
Um. Oh, you put it put me on the spot.
All right, let's move on.
It's like wait.
You
I've
mentioned that
still. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
you what?
No, go ahead.
Okay, you prefer this. Um, you mentioned that over during your career you played with different bands, and then you said that you also kind of enjoy when you play bass, that you enjoy more playing with for other people
Hmm.
than for your band. Is that because you can just concentrate on bass and not sing, or for some other reason?
I don't know. I think I feel like I go back and forth on this now. I even like back and forth in like this whole conversation. I think I just I don't know. I find the joy in like singing and playing together, but then there's also another joy of just being concentrating on what you're playing. Like
Okay,
I'm just such I am a
it's
better
different.
player when I'm not singing at the same time. I feel like
There's less pressure when you're not a band leader.
yeah, I feel like I'm making more musical just like the musical choices that I'm making just kind of flow out in a different way where it's not like, what I'm singing just kind of like goes.
Mhm.
And it's still just goes like that too when I'm playing with other bands, but it just goes in a little different direction. Just
What
like,
did those band leaders think about slap bass? Were they usually encouraging slap, or would they say like, I don't play that much slap, play more pizzicato?
I it I think I it works for whichever the song. Like I wouldn't play slap on all the songs. I think it's whatever the song requires, or some parts of songs will require slap. Um, you know. So like I said, I also like being a side person because then you're there for the support of the band and the song.
Yeah, that's definitely our main function to support the song and the soloist or singer. Um, what you're doing, you're supporting yourself in your own
Oh
band.
my god.
So
Questioning all my life decisions right now.
you can't fire your own
I
bass player.
you say that all the time. I wish I could fire myself.
um, what would be, you have like a lots of experience now with playing and touring. What would be your advice to younger Laura, and like to basically younger musicians that are starting out, and then how to get the gig, how to start playing out?
Oh, how to get a gig and start playing out. First, to have a good strong set. Have Make sure you have the stuff to back up um your inquiries. Um I think yeah, just learning how to just be really organized. And I feel like I always kind of had like my press kits together, or just from being a promoter before starting the band, I kind of knew what to look for. And I can say from that side, um and don't be afraid to like reach for bigger shows too. Don't be afraid for the asks of like bigger venue or like a bigger show, or just like reach out and have your stuff together. Be professional, be polite. um just polite persistence. And I think that would be it. Just like you have to work hard and focus.
And are there any mistakes that you would say that you would now avoid that you did?
Mistakes that I would avoid. um yes, I think like you have to make sure that you're touring with the right people. Make sure that you're asking for enough money. I'm bad at that. I was very bad at that at the beginning. Bad at make sure you have contracts. Um, yeah. So don't undervalue yourself. I felt like I was undervaluing myself a lot.
Yeah,
Like a lot
that's
of
that's,
mistakes like
that's
that.
definitely a good advice. um and you mentioned that you were taking, and you still take some lessons occasionally. Is it And it's mostly jazz lessons, that's what you said,
Um,
on bass?
Oh, on bass, it would be everything from like even like bowing, too.
Oh, you did
So
some
like a little,
classical lessons from
yeah,
classical players?
hmm
Oh, cool.
yeah.
How
So
did that go? Do you enjoy playing with the bow?
I I kind of do. So I yes and no, because I play the violin. I was like, oh, I'll do like a French grip. But I feel like I need to kind of explore a German grip a little bit better, because I feel like I might get, I don't know, um, a I think it might be easier for my wrists.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually violin players switch to the French one. I play
Yeah.
German, and I mostly play German, but I can play French, but I definitely prefer German, and
Yeah.
that's
I
great. That's
I
cool.
don't I don't know if it's because I have the violin experience, like I'm holding it like the violin bow. I feel like it was like very similar to that, but it was just I just didn't have the I feel like I don't have the power in it from like the kind
Ah,
of the
okay.
overhand grip. So I feel like kind of pulling
You might be right.
might be better
You
for me.
you might be right. Like for more power, and it's kind of easier because you're kind of pressuring with your whole kind of
Yeah. Instead
wrist.
of like Yeah.
just like that. Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense. I'm curious to hear that. Once you try playing with the German bow, um,
Yeah.
that if that's something that helped you out. So when you practice, what do you practice? Do you practice scales or some exercises, or what do you do?
Uh yeah, well, I always I warm up with just like major scales. Just make sure I have my intonation right. Cuz I'm like, okay, at least that's one thing I can do well sometimes. Um so I start with scales to just kind of make sure those notes are right, my form's right. And then just start slow slapping to just go faster and faster. And then I try to work on different patterns, just slap patterns, which I need a little more practice on.
So no etudes or some kind of exercises besides the.
Oh, for in classical,
I mean,
yes.
whatever you practice, whenever you're
When I'm
practicing, it's
yeah,
mostly
well,
scales.
it's if I'm not learning a song, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
if I'm like I haven't played like I haven't like really touched my bass in a while. I feel like such a bad bass player right now. I've been like
It's about the whole package. It's not just
it's
about
like in yeah,
how you deliver it.
and like COVID. Yeah, no, I start with scales. And some of the I don't really do finger exercises in bass. I probably should. I do it in like all the other instruments. It's a good point.
It's interesting, when I practice, I either practice open strings with the bow, or I play scales. Um, Sometimes finger exercises if I haven't played like for a long time, but then it would be just a repertoire from my conservatory, that I played. I'm kind of stuck
Mm.
with the same compositions. I should
Oh
actually
my
expand
god.
that.
Like, yeah. I do
But
like yeah, Violet, I started I like start with like the same books that I was playing when I was like 12 years old and I'm like, "Oh." But like sometimes you're like mm. And
but
just play
playing with
through
the
all of them.
bow, it's excellent for the intonation, and I think it's very. I would say it's essential. So, um, for anyone that wants to develop good intonation on bass, on upright bass.
Yeah.
Do you have any warm up routine before the show?
Before shows, yeah, I have to do vocal exercises. Um and it's just probably about 10 minutes of vocal exercises. I do a little bit of like if I can stretching and yoga, just a little bit just to make sure I'm kind of like don't go out there super like anxiety and I'm just like ready to go. Um and yeah, then I just like I try to just like warm up. If it's like if I'm playing guitar, it's just warm up scales, slapping, just play through a few songs. And then it's important to just cool down afterwards too.
And do you have any other warm up routines, like if the bass is on the stage and you cannot reach it at all?
Oh
Are there any tricks for that?
no, I would be interested in hearing if there are some tricks for that though. So warm up those fingers. It's like,
Yeah, I mean,
you mean you don't have to throw out the first song?
yeah, I mean, I'm bad with it. I just go on stage and start, playing like a maniac immediately, instead of kind of taking it easy and then warming up. So, but I'm curious, what is the other people's approach, and
Yeah.
because I plan to start doing that, be a little bit more serious about it. I see my drummer from Mike Fasano from the Tiger Army. He warms up for couple hours before the show. I just go hang out, go all over the city where I'm at, eat like whatever I haven't tried before, and just go on stage. Arrive there 5 minutes before I'm supposed to go.
What are
Go
you, lead
home,
singer?
that's,
Just kidding.
that's it. And yeah, so it's not. And you play for an hour, 2 hours, as long whatever the length of the gig is, and then go back to do stuff again. um, and as far as so, since we're starting to talk about live shows, how do you fight the feedback?
How do I find it?
I know
It's
how do you fight it?
Oh,
How
how do
do you
I
fight
fight the
the feedback?
feedback in the live
Yeah. Do
streams?
you have do you no 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 like for the live shows?
Oh God, live shows, feedback. It's a constant. It's like it's really a constant battle. Um, I try to get as far enough away from it. The only trick that I have is like really like squeezing the base between my legs, like to just try to get that to stop. But I'm like moving around a lot. Um, it's you'll see. I know it's so embarrassing, but then sometimes I'm on tour and I'll just like the feedback's so bad, like I tape up the f holes, and I know that's a big no, but sometimes it's got to be done. Um, yeah, but oh, usually I feel like if like the pickup is kind of placed in a good spot, and if I play around with the placement a little bit, it helps.
What pickup do you usually use?
I have a shadow preamp, so I use the like their pickups, and
Shadow
so
pickups?
yeah, the shadow, like
Okay.
the little what is this? The little shadow rockabilly pro, like that little guy.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah, and so it has like the two up here, and usually I feel like the it just comes from like a little vibration here. So I'll shove like an extra if it's really a little bit of feedback, just kind of tighten it up with I don't know what I have here, like a little piece of wood, like a little shim in here. Yeah. So I'll really just play with that placement, and that usually helps with the feedback, and then just kind of like squeezing that in there.
What kind of strings are those?
So Superior Bassworks Dirty Guts.
Oh, okay. Are those your favorites?
They are. I've tried so many different strings. And I just keep coming back to these. I just where are they? They're easy to play. They sound warm. They sound like guts, and I mean it's not they're vegan, so I mean I'm assuming they are. But yeah, they're just I don't know. They're so easy to play. Um, I've I've tried so many other ones. I don't like the silver slaps are like too loose. Parastros are like too tight. Some of the other like kind of steel strings just like I don't know. They just kind of like rip up my hands a little more. But this one I've never had problems with this. I've never gotten any never really like hurt myself with them. Never had
Ooh.
bloody hands from playing these strings.
And when you play with the bow, are you able to bow them fine or
Not very well. No.
no? Okay.
It doesn't sound very good with a bow. Not at all.
Yeah, that's a
I
little
have another
tricky.
bass um in
Another
the
bass
studio.
with steel strings or
Um yeah,
the
what
same
are
strings?
no, they're not the same strings. They're steel strings.
Oh, okay.
I forget what kind they are.
You forgot what type of strings are on it?
On that yeah, that's my backup bass. I can't remember at the
Okay,
moment. Sorry.
no worries. Um, and how do you often have to change them, the strings?
um I don't I probably changed them. I don't know. Maybe these are like oh, they're probably due for a change. I think they're about 2 years old. Um, but they've been lasting pretty well. But this hasn't been played for a while, and I can definitely see that there's like a little bit of wear on it. Um, I've never really had any issues. I had one time like it came like the stopper came untied like before a gig, but there was so much slack there. I was just able to like knot it up, put it in the tailpiece. And like that's the other thing about bass. You have to there's so many times that you're just fixing it while you're on stage. Always carry screwdrivers, shims, like
And what kind
nail
of bass is that?
files. Oh, I this is just what is it? It's just a Chinese made bass. It's Palatino. I bought it for $200 and
Oh
it's my
wow,
favorite
okay.
bass. Yeah. I played so many other basses, but I keep going back to this one because I think I'm like not afraid to like just like really get in there with it. Um
You paid $200 for it.
yeah.
Amazing. Where did you find the bass for $200?
It was my friend sold it to me. He's like, my
Ah, okay.
wife is making me get rid of this. He's like, $200, it's yours. I'm like, done.
Oh wow, is it your first bass?
Yeah, this is my first one. I keep going back to
Okay.
it.
And
I
how
get the
but
other
how
ones and I just don't like them. I don't know
okay.
why.
How about
I'd
the
even
other
like
how about the other bass that you have?
oh, the other one's like a cheapy bass too, but it's like it's much nicer than this one.
Mhm.
That is just I don't know. For the longest time, I had it held together with like zip ties because the bridge kept collapsing. But I had the zip ties where it lasted for like 3 or 4 years. I just like zip tied the bridge here to the tailpiece. Ew. God. I yeah. I had like it came apart at the seams and I just kind of glued it together. It's like there's a lot of filing with nail files on
Okay.
this and
Did that affect the
glue.
sound or not?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
All right. How about the like? Are you using any effects or pedals?
I don't use any pedals. No, I just go through like my rig is like if the GK so the 4x10 Neo, and then
The amp.
yeah, is
Okay.
the and then I have the GK RB 1001 for the head. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Are
that's
you
about
happy
it.
with GK?
Yeah, I like it.
It
That
seems that
sounds
lots of people love it. Especially it seems like especially on a psychobilly scene
yeah.
that are
It's a
they're into it.
I like it. It's too heavy though. it's really it's heavy. like I back up like Fender Rumble for some of the
Huh.
shows, and I'm like, oh, it's so much easier to play. it's like it's only like 10 pounds as opposed to like the road cases and everything. It's
Yep.
crazy. I can't lift it by myself. I need help. I feel like such a wimp.
There's easy fix for that. You write a hit song that's going to be on the radio. And you're immediately going to be playing bigger shows, and you're going to have a roadie.
Yay!
um, so it's all about
Somebody else
song.
can carry the heavy stuff.
But that's a good, pretty good intensive. Like you have to write a hit song. So
I know. I should do that.
read
Just wake
that,
up, be like, write better
So
songs.
it's gonna fix all the problems.
hmm
Um,
Sure.
um, do you ever have a problem of like a different volume of um, how can I explain this? A different volume of the certain notes on the fingerboard. That certain notes sound louder and the other ones quieter.
Yes.
How do you
Yeah.
fix that?
Well, I should try to not to play on the E string. um, but um, I guess like it's kind of the approach of the attack. Some of the songs though, like on the record, like I feel like where you at, like intentionally, like I'm going up into, hitting the D sharp on the G string. Um, for like the first finger. So it's kind of just staying on those strings because I feel like you have a better this sound level on the same string, right? Is that
I'm
um
curious about your approach.
yeah. So I feel like each string has a different volume for me. Um so I try to like maybe like keep it if I'm either just playing on like these or you know, I just keep it up there, not go all the way like onto the E.
And when you travel, do you usually use your own bass or you usually use a backline?
Um, it depends. If it's like, I mean, if it's a European tour, then I send them my specs of what I need. I usually send out the strings. I think like West Coast, those like the bases that I use there are pretty similar setup to this. So I usually kind of make sure the setup's similar.
And you bring your own strings or you just tell them?
Sometimes I send out the strings ahead of time or I bring them myself.
Oh, you send out the strings? Oh, okay. And the pickups as well?
I'll bring the pickup with me, or sometimes I'll use the pickups that are there, but I'm not. I don't know. What's the pickup that goes under the feet? What is that? The Underwood? Is that?
Under the feet?
Yeah. Does that? What is
Oh,
that?
it's
What pickup is that? I hate that pickup.
it's David Gage Realist.
Oh, I hate that pickup. That's the worst one. That is the
It's
pickup.
actually that pickup is one of the best ones, but not for the when you're playing with a loud band. When you're playing with a loud band, it's feedback. It's just
Yeah.
feedback. You can't get a good tone. But like
I've
for a small gig, like a small jazz gig, it's actually excellent. For
well,
lots of jazz players love that one. It's
yeah.
called
I
realist because apparently it's kind of the closest to the real
probably.
sound of the bass.
I think
I'm not a
for
fan of it.
yeah. I I've had the only time that like I've had bridges just like kind of pop off like on stage has been like with that pickup.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, oh god, it's the
Really?
worst. It's like, what are you doing? What did that happen? Oh, we were playing. There's one year European tour, like I think it's like a 2018 tour, and that was the pickup that I had, and it popped off at like three different shows,
Oh
and
my.
I
Wow.
was it was so horrible. Like one of the shows, luckily there was another bass player there, so he took the bass back. Somebody put an electric bass on me, which you like. I don't know how to play. I'm gonna play this. How do you like put a yeah? It was a nightmare. So I'm sitting there like trying to figure out like how do I make a song sound good with an electric bass that has been sitting on the wall of this bar for probably 10 years.
Oh, wow.
It was awful.
That's kind of like my bass. I have a bass here that I, never use, but it's, I
Oh, I have that same bass. Is that the
oh,
P
you do?
bass?
Okay.
Yeah, it's on my wall too. I think the strings are like 20 years old.
Yeah, minor.
I know. Ugh.
And so you play electric bass too, right?
Uh, if I so I think maybe on like one of the songs on the last record I put electric bass on it. Um, for I think Baby Gets Down.
Okay.
Um, was that the only one? It might have been another one. But yeah, it kind of had like a different funk sound to it.
So you wanted a different
I was just like a really
different.
fast kind of yeah. It's just a sound. What I was hearing in my head, like, just was an electric bass on that
Mm.
particular song, which never happens except for that one.
Like in my career, I recorded only one song on electric bass. It's yeah, long time ago.
Oh,
Do you ever fly with a bass?
no,
You
mm-mm.
never fly. Okay.
It's a $200 bass. I'm not playing with it.
That was, I used to fly with the bass all the time, and it was during the time when you could actually bring the bass inside of the plane. But you
Oh
can't
my!
do that now. So you just convince them to put it. I mean, I
Is it
was
like a
doing it when I was a
non-collapsible
kid.
bass,
No,
like a
I mean,
full size?
no, a whole size. But I was bringing basses. When when I was a kid. I was always finding ways how to bring it in actual plane and explain them how it has to be that way. And I would either put it in the restroom so nobody would be able to go to the restroom, or
Oh
or
my
something.
god!
Because once you get on the plane, they cannot really kick you out, because once they realize how big that is. But that was like before the mess, so you were able to bring it, if you kind of trick them a little bit. But I'm not able to do that anymore. I feel that that would be impossible. But
Yeah.
maybe I should try. Hey, we don't have too much time now, but like I would love to. Do you have strength to sing one more? Play one more?
Um. Um.
Yes, no, yes, no, yes,
I'm
yes,
not
yes.
sure. Maybe. I have to think about it. What song should I sing? What song would you like me to sing? Hmm. No,
Um,
let's not do
well,
that. A game.
you haven't played anything from Little Richard, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, let's try it. I can do that.
Let's do that.
Let's do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Do that. Let me like put this up to here.
All right. While Laura is getting ready, I would like to remind you that we have super stickers and super chat available under the live chat. That's what YouTube offered me recently. They offered a membership, as well, but I haven't figured out what should I do for that. If you have any ideas, please write them down in the comments below the video. And we don't have much time, and I think that Laura is almost ready. She's tuning the bass. You see, I have a little production window here so I can see what's going on. And thanks again for joining. We're here every Saturday. All right. I think she's ready. She is ready.
All right. All right. One more song. Woo! My soul! Baby, 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 baby. Don't you know my love is true? Woo! Honey, 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 honey. Get up off of that money. Love, 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 love. And, woo! My soul! Gimme, 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 gimme. Gimme all the love you got. Gimme, 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 gimme. No, my love can't stop. Love, 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 love. And, oh, my soul.
Awesome. Thanks so much, like for being a part of the Slap stream live from Slapsville. I have one last question for you, and
Yes.
that would be, what inspires you to still do what you do? Like we live in crazy times now, and lots of normal people are saying this is not what we should do, but I don't think that we have a choice.
We don't have a choice. You got to
Yeah.
keep going. There is no choice. This is what we do. This is our purpose is to just make music and make noise and have that expression that we can pass on to other people. So maybe if people can't express it themselves, we give them the song.
I agree. We are the essential workers then, right?
We are essential. Music is essential.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for being a part of the Slap stream. We've been here together for 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Oh my
So
god.
thanks so much for doing this. And I can't wait to see you play all these cool songs live in some cool club.
Yeah, I can't wait until I see you on the road.
Yes. Thank you. And
Thank
see
you so
you
much for
next
having
time.
me. All
Of
right.
course.
Bye.
All right. That was Laura Palmer, and almost 3 hours. It seems that, even when I want to make them shorter, there's still, these episodes are long, three, we had like a few episodes that were longer than 4 hours, but I always feel the need to um, present the work of each guest as fully and as complete as possible. And luckily, all the guests that I chose have lots like to say, and then that we can all learn and from their experience, and hopefully share the knowledge. And that's what we do. That's what I do here at Slapstream with Georgia, live from Slapsville. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and give me a thumbs up if you like it, or thumbs down if you don't like it, and turn on the notifications. And if you really want to support the channel, check out the Patreon. Link is below, and Venmo and PayPal as well. But Patreon is the one that really supports the channel and gives me the boost to continue doing this. Um, and let me know who you would like me to feature next time. And for future episodes, please write that down um, in the comments below the video. And don't forget, never fret. Slide it in smooth and keep it in a groove. This is Djordje, your friendly neighborhood bull fiddle cat, and I'll see you next Saturday.